everyone, and welcome back to the penultimate match day of our Summoners War European League 2025. Bringing you all the action. As always, it's myself, Sam, joined by Mr. Seishiza. How are you doing after recently winning the old Siege?
Yep, doing very well, doing very well. And actually, one of my guildies that also did win Siege is playing here today. So it's all about these guys that are playing here today. We got 6 more players playing here. And after that, everyone is at the same amount of matches once again. So let's see how many people can actually catch up or maybe extend their lead.
Exactly. Like I said at the beginning, it's the penultimate match week. So there's only one more week left. That'll be week number 7 next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. But this is going to really dictate the amount of points that you can get on that leaderboard. We've already seen a little bit of a gap at the top, say, as well, with Malignant taking those extra points, having a nice little cushion into that first place position. But there are 6 more players today that are all vying their chances to try and get those extra points to get into those top 8 spots in order to get through to our playoffs, which will be coming up very, very soon. If you've not understood this so far and it's week number 6, what have you been doing? Open your ears, because we're here for this Summoners War European League Best of 2 series. Prize in money is there to be won as well for our players. And like I was saying before, look at that leaderboard. 4 points clear at the top for Malignant right now.
Yeah, absolutely. But the players that are playing today, Pinkroyd is sitting at 9 points, and Tactac, it shows at rank 7, but in the end, he's at 8 points, so he's not that far behind Pinkroyd as well. So those are the 2 players that are looking to extend their lead. But then on the other side, we do also have Crispy Bacon, Slay, Jocelino, and Unarmed that are currently sitting at either 6 or 5 points, and they will try to catch up. So let's see what these gentlemen can do over here today.
Exactly, and I mean, we haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen a full clean sweep in any of the match weeks so far. Nobody's been able to take home 6 points in a week. People have been close, but if you can do it at this stage in the competition, that's going to really jump you up the spots of this leaderboard right now. Even unarmed on those 5 points, that's up to 11. You're in second place already going into that very last week. So it's all to play for our players on this day right now. So, I mean, let's see exactly what the matches are as well, because there are some exciting ones coming up, I think.
Yep, absolutely. And we start off with Crispy Bacon, who loves to use his Lydia. That is one of those units. We have seen it a few times also being banned, a few times being respected. But it's also a few times of those things like, is it actually going to work? Because people had more and more weeks of preparation. And that counts for all of the players over here. My eyes also go out to Jocelino, because he plays a very particular playstyle with just full-on passives. That is something that you can prepare against. But then you also, of course, have players such as Pinkroyd. The man plays everything. So it is a nice mix-up from a bit of everything of all kinds of the players. So definitely looking forward to what they show today.
Exactly. I'm actually loving the blue, white, and red that's all on that right side of the players as well, whether you're from the Netherlands or if you're from France. But these guys, one of them is from there. Crispy Bacon and Slay. Say, like we were saying, this matchup, who's your favourite going into this one?
Well, I would say I give it slightly favor towards Slay. They do both share the Gianna, so that will probably be a contest. But Crispy Bacon mostly has been playing the same thing over and over and kind of forcing that too much in with that Lydia. And we have seen it last week or the week before with Slay. He's very good at preparing. He did that very well against Merle. So let's see what will happen over here. First pick goes in this case to Crispy Bacon. So that might be a ban from Slay towards Crispy Bacon on that Gianna. Exactly, there it is.
Gianna and Sekhmet. But why did Slay lose his next match? Because Chris always brings home the bacon. Let's find out if he does manage to bring home the bacon in this matchup, say Sekhmet and Gianna being banned out. Maybe a good pre-ban there, knowing that your opponent's got that first pick and it could be a highly contested unit. But opting for the speed lead with Chandra.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Chandra is also the core speed lead that Slay does like to pick himself, so that's definitely a good steal right there. So Slay is kind of already looking like, okay, what am I going to be going for first pick? Sierra is still a good option, does have that Kovaci.
Yeah, Kovaci, super strong unit there as well. We've got the Dark Megumi coming out, as well as that Zeratu. Some big damage coming out. If you've got an LD, I've got an LD to answer there.
Yep, absolutely. Plus that is, once again, Crispy Bacon is really sitting on the steals over here, because Slay does also own a Zeratu, so Gianna is pre-banned by himself, because Crispy Bacon does also share that, so they actually do share a fair amount of LDs between the 2 players. Again, to counter some of those strips, or would you like to follow up with that? Because you have to go for more single target damage, or at least some kind of damage. Okay, he leaves it for the 5th slot and goes for another stripper.
Yeah, going with that Wind Robo right there. We know with the pushbacks, if you can get it on that skill 2, and some potential stuns coming out as well. What's a unit that doesn't get stunned there? Say we've got that Mehu Wan coming out on the field. Good response.
Yeah, good response, but it doesn't show too much of contest yet because now it's kind of the gamble of who is faster. Is that Megami going to be faster, or is that Kovaci or Robo going to be faster? So I think you somewhat have to go for a fast unit. But since the Heigang is on the field, I was thinking for a bit about Athena as well. But if you leave the Heigang in, then Athena might not be that great.
Exactly. There's only one speed lead as well, potentially, on that side. Is he going to look to partner it up as well to try and go for that first turn?
Yeah, he could go for that first turn. The ban gets a little bit difficult if you both have one speed lead, so he could be looking at another speed lead. But I think the moment that the Sierra's gone right now and you don't lock a damage dealer in fifth, you're going to be very low on damage. So Slay has to be looking for some kind of damage dealer, and there you have an insane damage dealer. But this is definitely the game of where do you ban, the speed leads or the speed units?
Exactly there, Sonya coming out. We know how deadly she can be, especially with the elite level of runes and artifacts that are on these monsters in this Summoners War European League. Bans taking the full amount of time, say it's that mind game. Do you go for the speed lead or are you going somewhere else?
I would say double speed lead. I think that's the safest of options, but it's also the gamble of how fast is your Sonya compared to a fast Athena, and he didn't want to take that one. But we have the speed lead being gone on the right side and the Athena being gone on the left side.
Exactly, so one of them was taken away. We've got speed lead for Crispy Bacon going in and the attack lead on the side of Slay. It's our Summoners War European League match 1, set 1. Crispy Bacon versus Slay here. Say, is he going to be taking that first turn? It is going to be that Kovaci.
That is a very fast Kovaci. To also have a Kovaci outspeed your own Sonya, but also the enemy units that are most likely on Swift as well. I expect that Megami to be on Swift, so that's definitely a very fast one. Unless the Megami is maybe on a Despair set, so interesting to see. Where are you going to put your damage? My bets are on the Zeratul, and that's going to be a lot of damage on the Zeratul.
Exactly, taking away that damage right now. Can you get some stuns? And the good stuns as well from that Heigang.
Just to double check, I'm pretty sure Gianna was pre-banned, right? Because that Heigang did exactly just that. That is one of those Heigang things. It's like, yeah, we don't really expect it, but the moment it happens, it's really bad. Also, that Meo Wang hitting that Sonya is maybe not the right thing you want to do during having glancing, because glancing is picked up by the passive of the Sonya itself, and therefore you give a lot of attack bar to that Sonya.
Exactly, and look, Kovaci can raise up that Wind Robo again. Another skill 2 pushbacks. Can you even get more stuns like Heigang did on your side of the field earlier?
Well, you're going to be aiming it on one of the 2 units on the left, and you hope it doesn't go for the monkey, because of course the monkey cannot get stunned, but in this case, can't have everything in life, you end up being stunned yourself.
Wow, brutal. You can't have everything, but Sonya can come in to try and start cleaning up those units. We say it all the time, say, confirm those kills.
Yeah, we're definitely looking at confirming those skills, but the Megami has something to say about it. However, there's also that glancing right now. If you go for the third hit, yeah, that's a lot of glancing hits, and once again, we see Sonya taking in a lot of attack bar. But the big question right now, would you gamble it to go for the monkey? Because this might be your only take for taking out the monkey. No, actually doesn't want to take the gamble, goes for the Chandra first, but actually doesn't take out the Chandra yet.
No, it doesn't take it yet, and now Monkey is online, and he can start killing. Can he get some stuns as well? It's going to be Monkey versus the world.
Yeah, that's definitely a monkey versus the world. And looking at what the monkey is fighting against, it could definitely be a take what a monkey can absolutely solo everything. So that is one of those positions that you might be like, okay, it is going to be a 50-50 or technically even lower because of the non-crit potential as well. But if you were to take it and you would have taken out the monkey right there, you would have definitely won. But then again, it is one of those risk takers. And once again, this monkey is doing a lot of monkey business.
Monkey business coming in, managing to get that kill on the Kovaci and can now start working onto that Wind Robo, getting some stuns, landing defense breaks to kill. Heigang versus Monkey, we've seen it before.
Yeah, this is something that Monkey absolutely wins 100% of the time. I don't think I've ever seen a Heigang win a 1v1 against the Monkey, and today it's not happening either.
No, Crispy Bacon taking that 1-0 lead against Slay there. Say, we said it during the drafting phase as well, how strong that Monkey was. You saw all of the kind of control coming out from Slay, and it just wasn't enough in the end.
Yeah, it's one of those dangerous units that in the end the 2 damage dealers were the Robo with a little bit of chip damage and the Sonya mainly. So if you have those 2 on the field, nothing can really take out the monkey that well. So I think he had to go for that gamble. But in hindsight, it's always really easy to say like, oh, you have to take the gamble, because in the end, it is still like a pretty low check to actually make it work. And both players do not like to see the enemy Gianna on the field, so they ban it both sides.
Exactly, Gianna coming out there with that Dark Megumi as well, being pre-banned out. Didn't actually get online that much for Crispy Bacon, but maybe the setup wasn't quite there. Now he knows that how quick that Kovaci is as well. He's going to see how he responds.
Oh, that's a very early Sonya pick on the side of Crispy Bacon in this case. But the thing is, Crispy Bacon does have that Ragdoll, because in this scenario, you mostly want to put in an Edna. But Edna is one of the worst units into a Ragdoll. So it's a little bit of a protected pick, because you have other units coming up later. So let's see what Slay goes for. Once again, goes for that Kovaci and goes for Segment this time.
Yeah, we saw how fast it was, that Kovaci, last time as well. So if Crispy Bacon wants to go and compete against him, he's bringing another speed lead with those Water Twin Angels, and the Zeratu back online as well.
Once again, stealing out that Zeratu from Slay. Slay, what do you have to answer? Because there's double speed lead on your enemy side. Adna is definitely looking very good right now, because if the Ragdoll comes in the 5th, you could definitely ban it. But you have to be looking at another speed lead. I would definitely say something like a Oliver would look very strong over here.
Exactly, getting in that other speed lead, knowing that it's going to go first. Go in for the Vanessa instead there, so we'll be able to have the revive later on, say.
Yeah, let's see what goes for that 5th pick. But I think that Slay drafted a very well-rounded draft that no matter what comes in the 5th, it is most likely being banned out. And with the Carlos, I do expect that as well.
Exactly, Carlos, so deadly when you can start confirming kills with a Sonya on the side as well. The bans coming in, it is going to be the Carlos, and it is going to be that Etna taken out from the side of Slay. So we're going to be having speed leads going into this one. 24 on the side of Crispy Bacon and the 33 likely on the side of Slay. Going into our Summoners War European League. Match 1, set 2. Can Slay reclaim a point against Crispy Bacon right now?
Big question is who's out taking who. Okay, so we have the Sonya moving right after this. So you have to go for the skill 3 right away on that Sonya. But the Kovaci will move after this Sonya. So there's definitely an opener right here. After this boost, the Vanessa can move and then the Sierra can drop a bomb. So we have to start looking at where can we land this target. Zeratu is always a really good target. Does actually manage to land it. Bomb. Everything is connecting. Everything is connecting. That is how you like to see your units perform. And a good 31k bomb takes it out right away.
Yeah, I was hearing the French cast in my left ear as well, applauding every single strip and every bomb landing that went off right there. But right now it's going to be the uphill battle for Crispy Bacon. Can he get Sonya taking a turn anytime soon?
It will be difficult, especially with especially with that Despair Stun wrong element. That's not really helping you at all. And that's also where you make it where if you had Sierra not stunned right now, you could have at least boosted it up, and with that boost up, you had another bomb. So in this case, it's going to be pretty difficult of where you want to put that improvise. Actually goes for itself. That's currently glancing on the unit itself. If you were to take out this Sierra right now, Sierra will still take a turn. Actually decides to go for the Kovaci.
Yeah, going for the Kovaci, didn't manage to get any damage really going through into that unit as well right now. Even targeting the Sierra, Vanessa still has that revive on the 3rd skill as well, say.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all about the Sierra getting online, but that Chandra has something to say. Once again, being glanced did not matter in this case because the hit just always crits. So there is a lot of work on this Chandra's eyes right now, and the Sierra can't really do too much against it yet.
Putting the cooltime into those Twin Angels as well right now, not allowing it to kind of boost anything up, get any defense breaks going out anytime soon, say. It's still looking very uphill for Crispy Bacon, though.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's also the thing that the Segment can normally do a decent amount of damage, but not really that much on water units, so it's definitely sitting at a wrong spot. In this case, Puppeteer Ball, it's once again not going to be enough boost, but at least you cannot be stripped at them, or you first have to get stripped before you get stunned in this case, so it might be the round where you get more chance for a turn.
Exactly, let's see if Sierra can get a turn anytime soon. Didn't manage to confirm that kill, would have been huge to get this first skill again into the Sierra. Does go for it now, but will she take a turn soon?
Yeah, she will definitely take a turn soon. Plus, I am pretty sure that Improvise from the Kovaci is up once again. So he can also be looking at once again landing a bomb. Big question is, however, this Chandra has been looking to be very tanky. So can you actually fully take it out if you go for that Chandra right here? Or do you go for the Twin Age, which is most likely a little bit less? Ooh, wanted to go for the... Yeah, I'm not too sure about the bomb on that in the first place, because you could have simply taken it out by skill 1 across the board. You didn't need the bomb on that one.
Exactly, and if you're managing to take out the Sierra right now as Crispy Bacon, you will be facing off against 2 fire units as well, so never a good position to be in.
Absolutely not, but then again, you could work your way around with the Vanessa going back and forth to try to get the Sierra back online. There's also not too much healing on the side of Crispy Bacon. There's a little bit in the Twin Angel's 3rd skill, but it is not that much. Also, once again, skills not really connecting.
No, not managing to get any of the cool time or even the defense break from the Vanessa right now. So these two water units might be able to kind of just chip away here, say. If they can get rid of that Vanessa before a revive, it's looking good.
Yeah, it's definitely looking good, but the amount of resistance on that revive does, I think, says that it's 100 resistance on that Vanessa, which does also make it not super tanky. So the chip damage of the Chandra is definitely going to take it out over time. Also, if you want to go for skill 2 right now, it doesn't really... There's too much wrong element for the skill 2 of the segment to actually properly land as well.
But does manage to get stunned there from the Water Twin Angels. You can get up some more immunity, get some attack. Maybe not the option to revive right now.
No, you don't really want to have the revive. You want to go for the revive where you go... Oh, I'm not too sure about 7.6k HP. You might not be able to take that out in one go. Actually, does not take it out in one go, and therefore you can go for another improvise. So it was actually very well played right there. Does have a bomb, and does have an explode. Does land the bomb. And also the timer helped out a lot with 30% up and 30% down. So actually the timing was very nice for Slay right there.
It was. It managed to work in Kavachi's favor right now. You can go for that S2, get some defense breaks on there, pile in the damage with Ciara as well. And it's confirmed. 1 point back for Slay. It's going to be a draw in our very first matchup here, say. I mean, it was all about timing with that Ciara in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was very nice that in the end the Chandra did take a turn, but the Ciara was tanky enough where just the Chandra skill one hit wasn't enough. And if the Twin Angels also moved after that, it might have been dead right away. But it's one of those things, if you have the timing right and that Kavachi has the improvise up, then suddenly you can boost a lot, plus give the cooldown reduction and the speed buff. So suddenly Ciara moves, Ciara takes things out.
Yeah, she definitely does with her bombs right there. And you can see when it landed, going on that Chandra, taking it nearly down to 1 HP. So much damage coming out of there as well. But both of them walk away with a point right now. In all honesty, probably at this point in the league, 1 point might not be enough. You need to really start stacking up those points to get a little bit higher up into our leaderboard. These guys will be making sure in the next matches they're trying to go for those 2-0 wins to really exceed themselves higher in this leaderboard. The top 8 do make it to our playoffs right now. I think both of them are just sitting in there as well right now, but there's still a lot of matches to still go. Like the next one, say, got Jocelino versus Unarmed as well. Great matchup to see here.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one as well, where Jocelino was playing very well with his passive setup, where Unarmed is more of a cleave kind of style of player. So it's definitely going to be the question of, can Unarmed go through all of those passives? And with passives, we're talking Raccoonis, Angelas, Vanessas, all of those kind of units. But Vanessas also, if you're a cleave style of player, it's mostly one of those first picks you like to pick yourself too. So I think that's going to be the high contested unit between the two over here.
Yeah, let's find out between both of these guys as we confirm it. It is going to be Jocelino versus Unarmed in this matchup right here. Like you said, say, different play styles. Who's your favorite going into it?
I would say this one is kind of hard for me to predict. Once again, I would say I give a slight upper hand to a player that is more versatile on his playstyle, so therefore I go to Unarmed. But then again, Jocelino has shown pretty good success with the passes that he's drafting.
Let's find out. What do Jocelino's draft without a Shahat and Unarmed have in common? Neither of them are armed with a real threat. Let's find out in our Summoners War European League Match 2 between Jocelino and Unarmed right now as we're going into these pre-bans right now. Say, pre-bans coming in, what do you reckon?
I would say that Jocelino might be looking at a Vanessa pre-ban. Actually goes for an Oliver pre-ban on the other side. That was one of the core picks that Jocelino was taking all the time, that Angela. So I do expect a first pick from Unarmed to go towards that Vanessa right away, because Vanessa was always the base of the whole kit of Jocelino itself. Yep, there we have it.
There you go, stealing the units, making sure that you've done your homework, you're prepared for who you're playing against, and you've got that unit on your side of the field right now. For Jocelino, I mean, we've seen a Shahat before, say.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what kind of speed lead he does. Like, okay, actually goes for no passive units then altogether right now, the moment that his Vanessa is stolen. So he's kind of fishing into waters where he's not as much familiar with, at least what he has shown in the league right now, with going with that Chandra and that segment. So let's see if Unarmed still wants to go for a heavy speed contesting comp. And that definitely does look a very interesting speed contesting comp right there.
Definitely does right now. We've got that water pudding princess. We've got the Adriana, why have I said that? And we've also got the Bella as well coming out. We know how much damage a Bella can do, say, especially if it's got that attack buff going into the units right now. Very speedy comp. How do you respond? Are you going to battle with that speed?
Yeah, it's curious to see if Jocelino goes back to the passes right now, or he's actually going to continue in speed contest. Now, he's actually going to go more for comfortable style with that Sahat. and with the Juno. So definitely going in the counter phase right now. So this is where an arm could go for another speed unit and another speed lead and definitely take that first turn.
Let's find out. We've kind of changed it up for Josselino a little bit more in the bruiser style, bringing those passives in, like you were saying, say unarmed right now. Are we going to see something like a Sonya with an attack buff, or is he going to opt for something a little bit more? Oh, that's some good damage coming out.
Yeah, that's definitely a good damage one as well there. But you still have to go for another speed lead. Otherwise, that segment might actually take something out. No, we're actually going to go for another bruiser unit, but maybe also somewhat of a steal, because he doesn't want Josselino to pick that up at the last pick right there.
Exactly, bringing in maybe even just a little bit of sustain there as well for unarmed right now, pairing it up with the 2 damage dealers that he's bringing through. Josselino right now, he's got some good sustain, I would say, but there's his damage coming out with the miles.
Yeah, that's the damage with the miles, plus the potential outspeed, because if you ban the speed lead right now of your enemy, you might have a good potential to outspeed right there. So let's see. This is once again the mind games of the speed leads. If your opponent bans the speed lead but not the speedy unit, or the vice versa, that is what matters. But we actually have one speed lead being gone on the right side, but the Chandra is still there.
Exactly, speed lead for Josselino, attack lead for unarmed. This is it. It's our Summoners War European League Match 2, set 1 between Josselino and unarmed, who will be going first right now. It is going to be that Miles. Can you get a stun?
Yeah, we're all looking for this stun right now. Actually goes for stun on the Bella. Doesn't get it on the Bella, but does get a pushback. Does not even get the pushback. But right now, with a speed buff, do you actually overtake the turns? Does not overtake the turns.
Oh, and does manage to get rid of that Bella on the side of Josselino now. But are you setting yourself up for a big defense break and big damage coming in right now?
Goes for the Juno. Instantly takes out that Juno. Wow, that's an insane amount of damage. It does have speed buff, it does have attack buff, but that's a lot of damage.
That is a lot of damage right now. You can put a defend from Chandra onto that Miles right now, but very soon, if Rikuni decides to, Nash can be going again.
Yeah, Nasha could definitely be going again, but in this case, oh, actually decides against it, doesn't go for it. If you can land this, ooh, does not manage to land the Oblivion wrong element. If you were to land it, that Sahad wouldn't be doing any damage whatsoever.
Definitely no. Let's find out. Miles, you're looking for another stun right now. Doesn't get it on the Nasha, so she is going to be able to take a turn. Oh.
And another skill too on an armor break. That is once again a really lot of damage right there. Also full resistance from the Chandra skill 3. That's not looking good for Josselino right now.
Oh, definitely not. And Nash just putting more chances to get those defense breaks in right now as well. They're going to have to try and demount her.
Yep, that's definitely all they're looking for. And there's also the slow right now on that Chandra. So you could also still go for that skill 2. Doesn't go for the skill 2 to lower the damage output from that Miles. So just wants to get more and more damage in on all of these units. And where you were able to take out that Bella, the Bella didn't matter at all apparently. It was all that Nasha.
Yeah, Nasha just coming in clutch, just deleting units left, right, and center for an armed right there, taking that 1-0 advantage against Josselino. I mean, Josselino started off looking in the driving seat there, say, getting rid of that Bella early, but as soon as Nasha was online, deleting Juno.
Yeah, absolutely. I did not expect the Juno to die in simply just 4 on 1 hit, and that's a very well-runed Nasha, because most Nasha owners can confirm with me that they say, like, my Nasha doesn't do this, it doesn't do that much damage. So you need a really good runed Nasha to actually do this amount of damage.
Exactly. Let's see. The pre-bans will be coming in for this set number 2. Are you going to have to just respect how much damage came out there?
Maybe so. Also, the Oliver ban was a little bit interesting because I think that Unarmed did his homework better there for saying, like, okay, for both of us, it is that Vanessa that is the key component. And in this case, sure, the Narsha's gone, but I think Unarmed has a lot of other cleave styles as well.
Exactly. Let's find out then right now. How's Josselino going to react with that first pick? The Vanessa is not open for him right now. We saw Chandra in that last turn right there. Is there a different speed lead that he's going to opt for?
I'm not sure, because what he likes to play, it's really based on that Vanessa, and that's what Unarmed doing very well. Either stealing it or having it pre-banned. So both sides, it is not on the field for Josselino. Josselino goes back to that segment once again, but then Unarmed even steals that Chandra. So I'm not too much sure of Josselino being able to pick up either a Sierra or an Oliver, if he even wants to go for speed leads at this moment.
Exactly, because Chandra with that Bella, he's bringing Bella out again. Didn't do too much in that last set, but just being on the field kind of made him ignore the Nasha as well going into it. Josselino going for the Water Twin Angels and the Shahat then instead.
Yeah, Water Twin Ages is definitely a good combination with a Sahat in general, but also gives you an option to go for a Fire Bayek, the Ashur at a later moment. So those are units that an Armed has to keep in mind. But I definitely do think he will go back towards some kind of cleave style because he does have the opener right there. And there we go with that Adriana once again.
Adriana coming in and a Sonya coming out to play as well. He's saying, I'm taking that first turn and one of your units is going to be saying bye-bye right now. Has Josselino done his homework? Maybe there's some defense builds, or there's an annoying monkey that you can always pick.
The monkey is an interesting pick right here because I'm not sure if it's going to be too good. Maybe if the Bella's gone, then yes. But there's also that Oblivion on the enemy side. However, that Gyu could be very interesting on this field right here. But on the other side, we do actually go for a Federica, which is an interesting pick into resetters on your enemy team. So if he locks in that Federica, I would say you have to ban that segment.
Yeah, otherwise, how's it getting its damage off and taking a turn right now? There's another few other snipe units there available for him. Say, is it the Battle of the Speed Leads again?
Well, I would say left side, definitely a ban on that segment. On the right side, there's a lot of good bans because you could ban out that Adriana, you could ban out that Federica. Those are two very strong ones. It's actually interesting to see where we still have the segment on the field.
Segment is through. HP lead for Josselino, speed lead for Unarmed as well here. It's our Summoners War European League match 2, set 2 between Josselino and Unarmed. Can Josselino get a point back right now? That segment isn't fast enough either.
No, that looks like a violent segment by the looks of this, so that's definitely interesting. But then again, where can you do the most amount of damage? Probably goes for the Sot. Sot 50k and survives. However, just the Chandra skill 1 will probably take it out from this point, but not if it's stunned.
Not if it's stunned, but doesn't get that stun on the Bella, so Bella can look to come in and confirm that kill right now. Get the pass off onto the monkey as well.
Yeah, in this case, oh, well, yeah, that is how you make a Federica work. You just pray to resistance gods to make it work. But this monkey also, once again, incredibly tanky.
Definitely tanky. Can now get a little bit of sustain and healing through that skill 2. Maybe opting to land on a Bella if you want already. Get that defense break, and you can start putting some suppression around.
Yeah, some suppression does manage to land it. However, Bella is an okay unit to just be using skill 1s. But once again, if it's stunned by the Gyu, that is not where you can do skill 1s.
Exactly. Chandra can look to defend the Bella right now if opting to choose so. Get a skill 3 off straight after. Boost up the rest of the team. Maybe need some slows on that monkey as well.
Actually, goes for the skill 3 right away, but it's counted. Ooh, I was scared for a little bit. Okay, in this case, would you go for the... If you go for the multi-shot, it might be your only way to take out this monkey. Does actually go for it. Enough dots, and will be taking it out, but she will be trading her own life for that.
Definitely will. Gyu right now with that suppression, looking to put it back on the Chandra. Can you get a stun somewhere else, potentially? Landing a defense break? No.
Nope, segment. Do you go for the skill 2? Does go for the skill 2 at this moment. Only a heal block on that segment, so no armor break on it thus far. And that does make the Sonya also very dangerous itself, because Sonya does have the skill 2 up already. Plus, there's right now a slow on your enemy. It is about the speed gap between the two units, so you deal a lot of damage right there.
So much damage dealt out. Segment against these 3 units is going to be tough, but if you can get rid of one of these water or fire units, maybe you've got a chance.
Well, she does have Vampire right now, and she does have Invisibility, but that's just for 1 turn, and that was also not gonna make her win. So, even though that the segment did not connect early on, it was still actually the Federica and the Sonya just taking out so much damage, and while you have a super tanky Sahat, still leaving like down to like 10% HP, it is still enough for the other units to just chip in and do the rest of the work.
Exactly, especially if you've got a Bella doing that chip damage as well. Finish the unit off, get some extra hits somewhere else on the field as well. Federica coming out clutch in the end as well there for Unarmed. Not managing to get reset, and then that skill 2 damage. So much going into that tanky monkey right there. Unarmed taking 2 points against Josselino right now. That's what he really needs. Extra 2 points along the moment for our Summoners War European League. That leaderboard is going to be looking much nicer if you're French and you're named Unarmed right now, but we'll get confirmation exactly of all of those matches that have been placed already in terms of the scores. I mean, do your homework, right? It seems that's the way to do it.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And it was very well played on just that Vanessa contest because he noticed it the moment that the Vanessa wasn't there for Jocelynho. He cannot go for a full passive route. And he goes a little bit more back and forth on like Twin Angels, a segment that he has now shown it, which was most likely not on Swift, which is also homework then again for the next players to see. So that is something that you could definitely go for an outspeeding kind of style of comp that Unarmed utilized very well.
Definitely did. And look at this matchup coming up right now. We're going to be having Tech versus Pinkroyd. Pinkroyd at the moment in second place, but still has 3 more matches to play. Could be the top of our Summoners War European League leaderboard by the end of today. This is going to be a really, really interesting match right now, say. I mean, maybe there's a clear, obvious favourite being Pinkroyd, but Tech, you know, you're in the Summoners War European League for a reason.
And actually, from the players that are playing right now, Tech is on the second place between those players. So it's definitely interesting to see what happens in this matchup. Tech was playing around a Secret, which is the Dark Ivor. But then on a Violent build, and also with a Violent Etna, or even a Despair Etna he has been showing last few times. So he likes to switch things up a little bit. So let's see what he can do. But on the other side, he has to play against Pinkroyd. And Pinkroyd plays a lot of different comps nowadays. I have a little bit spied on him for the last few weeks what he was doing. But so has Tech. And that's noticing that Water Twin Angels has been picked up a lot by Pinkroyd.
He's going to need some serious tech in a match against an ex-EU champ in our Summoners War European League match 3. We've seen there Water Twin Angels, Etna being pre-banned out. Quick response from Pinkroyd with a Haegang first pick, and Tech answering as well fast.
Interesting one to go for a Haegang first pick. We have seen it in other SWCs and other players do it. But where you first pick Haegang, it is sometimes also something you can ignore at a later moment. But let's see what the reason was that Pinkroyd wanted to go for that right away. Because if you want to go for some kind of Haegang Layla Tomoe comp, and a unit like a segment is insanely strong against that. So therefore, he also doesn't opt to go for those. But we go into a Jongnam and a Cigar.
Yeah, Jongnam's been doing so much work for Pinkroyd in our Summoners War European League right now, partnering up with the Cigar right there, getting some cool times of his own on the side of Pinkroyd. Tech, are you going to keep responding going in for that turn when we've got a speed lead, we've got Sekhmet out there, Sigrid coming in as well?
Secret still being locked in, but what kind of other units are you looking for? I would say that a Meo Wang has some potential against these units that are on the field right now. Actually goes for a Lima, which is interesting to see into a Haegang, because Haegang is actually countering something that wasn't on the field yet, but now you bring it to the field.
Exactly, that's how you've done your homework. You know what players are likely to use, and in that case, Haegang coming out. Wow, it's been a while since I've seen old Diana in a RTA match.
It's definitely a good one as well, because in the end, the Secret has an AoE hit, but you can't really control where it goes to. Plus, one of the strongest counters into a Lima is a Juno, because the moment that Juno goes for a skill 2 on a Lima start of the end, there's just a lot of debuffs, or a lot of buffs translated into a lot of dots, and therefore a lot of debuffs, and it just does a lot of damage right there. So very well drafted by Pinkroyd right here. Let's see what Tech can go for a final pick, but looking at the draft of Pinkroyd, I do expect 5th pick to be banned on the side of Tech.
Exactly, that's how you've drafted well in RTA. If you know you're going to be banning that last pick right now, and we do get a Jade coming out onto the field there, say.
Yeah, I do expect the Jade to be leaving the field, and on the other side, probably that Juno is something that's very hard to deal with. Then again, Pinkroyd does only have one sustain unit in the form of Jongnam, whereas there's a little bit more. Well, there's also not too much sustain. There's just that Lima actually for the sustain, but there's also a reset of that segment. So let's see how much segment can do in this draft. But first, let's see what they ban.
Exactly, it's going to be Sekhmet taken out, and the Juno is respected from the side of Tech. Likely to get the speed lead coming in from the side of Tech right here. And for Pinkroyd, are you going to be going for some attack lead on that water? Maybe get your Jongnam eating a little bit more, or a defense lead from the Cigar as well, coming in clutch right now. Taking more time to choose that.
Yeah, definitely. The Jongnam in this case has an HP lead, so that does also work for Jongnam's skill 2 and skill 3 extra damage. So let's see what these two gentlemen can do. We do have Lima taking first turn, but this is where it doesn't really help too much, because Haegang will take the second turn.
Definitely will. And Diana looking to transform already right now. Can you start applying in some damage right there? Going into that Sigrid. Good 3k hits right now.
Yeah, definitely good damage right there. Also, ooh, we have the turn order of Jongnam moving in front of the Cigar. Would have been nice to see that the other way around because that gives you more chance. However, you can still steal that one and then you have to go for AoE pushback, does get the AoE pushback and AoE provoke. So even though Cigar being slightly nerfed, the first skill in the first rotation is still exactly as strong as it used to be. Plus, Diana likes to do some Diana things.
Yeah, she can plow in more damage into that Sigrid right now. Maybe it's enough to take her out, and it is. Diana coming online, and that's why we haven't seen her for a while, but when she's here, she does a lot of stuff.
Yeah, she definitely does do a lot of stuff. Also, the units on the side of Tech are taking a turn in front of that Jongnam. So if they don't take an additional turn right now, Jongnam can right away go for a skill right after that. So you rather had seen the additional turn on that Lima. Didn't get it on the Lima, but does get it on the Chandra. But I'm not sure if Chandra can do enough against those two water or wind units that are on the enemy side.
Exactly, so much AoE coming out that Diana is eating it up right now in terms of the attack bar, looking to transform as well. Likely going into that Jade right now. Can you even get rid of her off the field?
Oh, not yet, but there's one turn away from the cooldown. Can you get the extra turn? Does get the extra turn. This could be a potential of you going for stunts right now, but I'm not sure if you want to go for that skill 2 rather than the skill 3. Goes for the skill 3, just a little bit of shield and defense buff.
Oh, good stun there as well from the Jongnam onto that Chandra, and you land in a defense break, allowing for one of these units to potentially take out that Jade. Not much with the shield, though.
Yeah, the shield is definitely working very well, but against that skill 2, there's not so much as you can do. I also did spot that this Lima is on a revenge build because it did actually show the counter the moment it was stunned. So we're looking at counters for that. So that's definitely an interesting way of going a Lima on revenge against the units that were played on the enemy side.
There you go, Pinkroyd securing that first point that he needs from this week, match day number 6, in order to get closer to Malignant at the top of our leaderboard right here. Pre-bans in that last round with the Water Twin Angels, and it was the Etna. This time we're going to be seeing that Jongnam respected, as well as a Hairgang pre-ban already from the side of Pinkroyd. He doesn't want to play against it.
Yeah, he either picks it or he plays against it, which is very interesting to see. Let's see what Tech wants to go with a first pick right now. Could be stealing those Twin Angels that he pre-banned in the previous round to have Pinkroyd not have those.
Yeah, let's find out. Or is he going to opt instead for the Chandra, which was around in that last match? Didn't quite manage to help its team out too much as it kind of went on, but he is going to lock it in that first pick right now.
Yeah, then Pinkroyd can actually go for the Twin Angels right now. Could also go for a steal on that Adna, but there we still have that Twin Angels.
Yeah, the pre-bans from the last round making their way onto the side of Pinkroyd in this draft right now. Fire Twin Angels coming out in response. We know how much damage they can do in an RTA match.
Absolutely, and it's also been meta to pair the Fire Twin Angels with the Water Twin Angels. But what I've also noticed from general just ladder play is that the Fire Twin Angels in generally are very weak without the Water Twin Angels, and they're even weaker playing against the Water Twin Angels. So let's see what Tech has prepared with those Twin Angels to maybe make it work. And he locks in a Zenitsu.
Wins Zenitsu coming out right there. Pinkroyd, super fast locking in those units right there, say. He knows what he's doing. He's bringing that Sekhmet and a Cigar, looking for some cool time resets on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really nice to have reset at Zenitsu because then the passive simply does not work and you can take it out right away. Whereas the Zenitsu in most cases is not super tanky. So if you can take it out fast, it's always very beneficial. But then on the other side, we have a Fire Monkey for some bruiser business.
Exactly. It's going to be annoying for Pinkroyd to try and take out right now that Fire Monkey coming into Tech's draft right now and partnering up with that Lima again to get some sort of cleansing coming throughout. But Pinkroyd's got his own cleanse.
Yep, his own cleanse and his own immunity, plus it has a defense break too. So let's see if he actually locks it in, because this time around, it took a little bit more time for that lock-in. But with that Velajul being on the field, I would say that he's probably banning out that Lima.
Let's find out Lima, if it's going to get banned out right here. He's going to take out that Monkey, because I don't think he thinks he can deal with it later as the match goes on. We've got speed leads for both Tech and Pinkroyd going into our Summoners War European League. Match 3, set 2 between Tech and Pinkroyd. Can Pinkroyd look to get close to that first spot?
Let's see, Lima, does it go for the counter? Does not go for the counter, and there are enough crits to give this second turn to the Adna right away. Adna, where are you going to be locking down your damage in that first turn?
Oh, I'm getting the stun there on those Fire Twin Angels right now. Sekhmet, do you also land? Whew.
Yep, both skills are connecting right now very well. So that does also make it where the Velajul most likely can boost up the immunity, and therefore the Zenitsu first turn cannot go into stuns.
Definitely can't. And does manage to get a defense break on those Fire Twin Angels as well right now. With the reset of that Lima, she can't look to strip either.
Yeah, it's interesting to see where he did not boost up the Valid Jewel just yet, but maybe he's waiting for the skill simply to come in. But this is the additional turn that does actually sometimes happen, and therefore it could be lowering the cooldown, but not only on the Twin Angels right now. Unless you want to be going full damage on that Athena, do you maybe want to take it out? Because maybe a full damage into the Athena plus a skill 1 of that Zenitsu would have been able to take out an Athena right here.
Let's see what he decides to do with this Zenitsu right now. He's going for that skill 2 to get the speed buff and the additional turn. Put some more damage into that Etna.
Looking at that damage, yes, he could have definitely been taking out that Etna if he went for the skills on that Twin Angels towards the Etna as well, but chose not to do so. In this case, Lima, enough skill 1 damage, very good, 2.4k per hit.
Yeah, the damage from Pinkroyd maybe being taken out there right now. It's going to be up to Velajul to try and land some defense breaks and really take out the units on the side of Tech right now, say.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lima's still a turn away from her third skill, so the protection is gone for just a little bit. However, the Twin Angels does also lower cooldown, so with that, it might actually be overtaking the turn and do have the cooldowns. And the moment that the cooldowns are up right now, Segment, of course, can go for strips, but let's see if she actually lands.
Does get a strip there from the Velajul onto that Lima right now. But she's going to be, like you said, going into her turns very, very soon and does have that skill 3.
Yeah, we have the skill 3 right now, but the Lima also does have the skill 3. And that does also mean, whether you land it or not, you have that many debuffs stripped, or that many buffs stripped, that you can use that skill right away, right again. So where does he go for it? Goes on the Lima, does connect, and that does mean, once again, next turn, he can still use that skill.
Exactly, but you can maybe put a little hug over there defending onto that Lima for right now. Looking to try and get a strip. No, not into those Twin Angels.
Also, the little bit of chip healing, the healing over time of the Limas helping out this unit, taking additional turns, but also adding in just a little bit of healing every time. In the end, the Segment still has to land that skill 3 towards that Zenitsu to actually take it out faster, and this might be the potential and the moment that he wants to do it.
Yeah, it could be the moment coming in right now. He's going to get the 2 debuffs as well, if he can do it. But maybe the 5 Twin Angels have got something to say about that for the moment, say.
For the moment, absolutely. But the moment you give immunity right now, the Zenitsu is sitting at 3 buffs again. So Segment can be stealing, once again, heal over time, speed buff this time, and immunity. So there's a lot of buff on this Segment right now.
Yeah, she's just taken all of them away from that Wind Zenitsu right now. And those Water Twin Angels, I don't know if it's going to be enough right here.
This could be enough, but Segment is also taking the next turn because of that speed buff. So once again, there's still 2 buffs on most units, so there's only 1 off turn in between. And she's just been using all third skills all the time. And I think everyone wants a Segment like Pinkroyd. It just works.
It just works right now. And Velajul, I think, has skills coming as well anytime soon to get some more immunity up on the side of Pinkroyd right now. Can he sustain long enough, Tech?
Yeah, that's going to be the big question. Additional turn for that Twin Angels. Just a little bit of chip damage, but also extra attack bar towards that Lima. And the Lima's doing good skill 1 damage. Actually taking a bunch of stuff out already. However, the focus shot, third skill. Do we connect? Armor break on that very first hit, and that is a lot of damage right there.
Oh, and Sekhmet coming in clutch to manage to take out 2 of the units right now. Sekhmet and Twin Angels against Chandra, say.
I definitely have to give that to the 2 units right now, because 2 is always more than 1. It's the simple math, and Tech can do that math as well.
Exactly. Pinkroyd taking it 2-0 in his first match of today, then, say. Getting him closer to Malignant at the top of our Summoners War European League leaderboard as well. I mean, just came out clutch, I think, you know. Getting the turns with that Sekhmet. When Sekhmet lands, she's good. And she did. So
yeah,
we don't
absolutely.
have to talk about when she doesn't, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's like also that many buffs, and that is the thing with Lima on the field, where Lima doesn't shine as much in current meta. If something like a Segment keeps stealing 3 buffs all the time, you don't even have to miss it to still keep doing your third skill. You can keep doing your third skill all the time. But also the moment you give yourself a speed buff, Segment steals that speed buff. That was also the time where it started lapping right at that moment. So in the end, Lima did do a good job of taking out units just a little bit with the chip damage on her skill 1, but it was simply not enough.
Simply wasn't enough there. And Tech, sadly, not taking any points from that matchup right there. But I mean, you're against an ex-3-time European champ as well, so no hard feelings. You've still got 2 more matches today to try and get some of those points to get higher up in the leaderboard. Remember, top 8 make it to the playoffs right now. And we'll be confirming those matches exactly to see how it's stacked up over the first 3 matches of today. We've seen 2 2-0s and 1 draw at the very start. We always talk about it, say, is this another pattern happening today?
Well, I mean, let's see. Let's see. I see the potential. I see the potential. But first of all, we're going to be looking at what these 2 or like, well, 6 players are going to bring to the table. But first, we're going to go into a little bit of a break just for you guys to grab a snack, grab a drink, get ready, get comfortable, and then we continue on with the matches.
What you normally do in a break, right? You know, just sit back, relax, maybe do a little bit of farming on the side, make sure that you've got everything runed up. If you've seen anything useful that might be helpful for the last 2 days of the RTA season, maybe you can boost up some extra points. Maybe not, I wouldn't, you know, probably stay where you are right now, in all honesty, right, sir?
Yeah, like if you want to be happy the next 2 days, if you're at a comfortable spot right now, stay at that spot, because I can tell you from experience, stressing in the last 2 days are always very stressful.
Exactly. Don't go anywhere. Don't stress right now, but we're going to be having a little break and we'll see you back very, very soon. Did I time it? everyone, and welcome back to the Summoners War European League 2025. We've still got 6 more matches here on match week number 6 of our Summoners War European League. All to play for, all of these points that are still tallying up on our leaderboard for these players to try and get into the top 8 from this competition to get through to those playoff phases right now. So we've seen already all of the players participating in at least one of the matches right now. They've all still got 2 matches each to play against the opponents that they've already seen. We were speaking about it before, doing that homework. Are they prepared? Hopefully they've been watching on one of the streams of the many languages that we do right now to see exactly what their opponents have been doing in those early matches. But how is it to get into the mind of a player? You've been there. Do you kind of concern yourself with what you've seen on the night, or do you more prepare for what you've seen from the kind of leaderboard matches already, like during the ladder?
I would say I would more look at like what you see on the night itself. Like you can make small adjustments between matches itself, and we have seen that in SWC before. Like players that are very good at that are like, for example, Ismo and Nev. They played very well on that. They were between matches just checking like, oh, they ruined this. Let me re-ruin like half of my box. And I do know Pinkroyd is a player like that as well. So let's see if they would go for that as well. And I think that's also a bit of more tournament experience. And the only one that has a lot of that standing over here is once again Pinkroyd. So besides Pinkroyd, I don't really expect too many people to switch up things completely. However, you can still be looking at like, hey, I play or someone else played against player X before. I have to play against him right now. These and these units I also have in my box, so therefore I can maybe make that work too.
Exactly, and look at this matchup coming right now. We've got Crispy Bacon against Unarmed. Favored player going into this one?
I would say once again Unarmed, and that's also just for the preparation. He showed good preparation in the previous match, and against Crispy Bacon, who's mostly have been showing the same kind of style of draft as well. Maybe the preparation is just the upper hand over there.
Let's find out. Chris tried to throw Unarmed a strip of bacon, but Unarmed couldn't catch a break first. Ah, there we go. That was a bit of a rubbish one, but let's go into our Summoners War European League. Match 4, set 1 between Crispy Bacon and Unarmed. We've got the Vanessa and the Gianna being pre-banned out there at the moment, say.
Yep, absolutely. That Gianna being high contest at the moment that Crispy Bacon is in those matches. So high contest as in, we don't want to be facing against it either way possible. Unarmed doesn't have his Vanessa right now, so let's see what he goes for. A speed lead does find the Twin Angels, because as we've seen most of the time between all of these players, first picks, 9 out of 10 are speed leads.
Exactly, and Crispy Bacon responding there very quickly with that Chandra and a Sonya as well, so he's bringing out some of his own snipe units to compete against the speed coming out from Unarmed. Usually in this spot before, we've seen that Bella, we've seen that Adriana come out. Is he going to follow suit?
Well, the big difference on an Adriana right now is that Adriana is sitting at a 111 base speed, whereas Sonya is sitting at a 119. So I'm not really sure if you want to be contesting that. And Unarmed does actually agree on that, and actually goes for a more bruiser route with an Ella, could be a Sonya trap, and a Cigar.
Crispy Bacon locking in that second speed lead to Moe coming in, and that Etna. He's ready for this speed contest.
Yeah, actually, in this case, it looks like Crispy Bacon is the one that's doing his homework. We're definitely switching up his draft, going for something completely different. And Unarmed is going more towards the Bruce side with an Acroma and a Juno right now.
Good answers, though. If you know there's debuffs that potentially could be coming out on the field, Acroma not having any of them, Juno eating them up. Maybe a little bit selfishly, but a snipe unit coming out from Crispy Bacon.
Yeah, that definitely does look like the bank contest between the Cigar and that Federica, because if one of them is on the field but the other one is not, that is where it gets dangerous.
Definitely is dangerous. Will he opt to choose that one, or is he going to go for a different snipe in the form of Sonya? Does he trust his speed going into this one?
Yeah, let's see, because in this case, Crispy Bacon is definitely looking at a earlier turn, because there's 2 speed leads and 2 speed awakening units. However, that Federica is off the field.
And the Juno as well, so we've got the speed leads for both of our guys going into the Summoners War European League. Match 4, set 1 between Crispy Bacon and Unarmed. Both rank 8th at the moment as well, say.
Yeah, let's see. We do have the Sonya also being willed, moving right after. Goes for the skill 2. Do we get enough crits? No, actually, Akrama made it that he missed a lot of crits. Can he land this crit? Does land the crit, but leaves it with a little bit of HP.
Does, and that's not going to allow the Etna to cut in as well. You can look to boost up that Cigar right now, get a cool time going out somewhere. Maybe even the silence coming out from an Acroma as well on a Tomoe.
That's kind of an interesting style to do it. Most of the time you want to be facing it the other way around, because if you did it the other way around, you could have been resetting the Tomoe, and then with the reset of the Tomoe, you have spread of AoE of that provoke. But in this case, it still works out because of that Acroma.
Exactly, and so much damage coming from an Acroma on a defense break of Tomoe right there. And Ella can look to just put up a bit of immunity right now. We can start kind of turn cycling.
Yeah, let's see what he opts to go for. He actually opts to go for just a little bit of healing. Rocking into that force skill, and the force skill is the one you want to do. That is a lot of healing, and that is the cooldown reducer.
It is, and you can look to get some stuns now with that Twin Angel as well. There's 2 wrong element that you're facing off against, and maybe it's a bit risky if you're going against the Sonya.
I would still opt to probably do it. Actually, does not go for it, but does have a chance to get more healing coming in.
Oh, gets the defense break on that Etna, but no provoke right now. Etna, are you going to try and cycle again or just land the skill 3?
I would personally go for the skill 2 right now. In the end, he goes for the skill 3, but that is a dead unit right there by the Acroma.
So much damage coming out from that Acroma. Whenever there's a defense break landed on that side of the field, it's going to be danger for Crispy Bacon right now. Can he keep that cigar alive long enough to get some more?
Well, that's going to be the big question, because in the end, Acroma's really strong into this comp, especially with the Ella giving a little bit of protection every time. Oh, but there we have a lot of armor breaks coming in. If that was used the other way around, he would have taken it out. Now the big question is, do you go for a potential silence on the Sonya? Actually does not go for it, but does go for an additional turn.
Goes into that Etna, silencing it right now. That skill 2 coming out onto the Ella as well, and it is going to take it out.
Yep, that is taking out that Ella, and therefore it is once again a little bit of a risk to go for Necroma onto Sonya because of that passive, but it's sometimes a risk you have to take to not have your units being dead simply by that Sonya skill 2.
Oh, wasn't quite enough for the bounce as well from that Acroma. It is going to happen next time, but is it going to be too late?
Yeah, that's definitely going to be too late, because the moment that 3 units are focusing on Acroma, Acroma's mostly made pretty quick work of, especially once again by that Sonya.
Crispy Bacon taking that 1-0 win against Unarmed right there, say. I mean, Unarmed's draft I don't think was that bad, but it came clutch in the end with all these deaths coming out from the Etna. Sonya just getting so many turns cycling through to those skill 2s.
Yeah, absolutely. And normally where Sonya's picked up that earlier, there's a lot more counters into a Sonya being showing up. However, Crispy Bacon did already ban the biggest counter into a Sonya, which is that Vanessa itself. However, Unarmed could have still opted to go for units like a Carlos, maybe work your way around a Nana, or just go for a Sonya trap kind of unit.
Yeah, and this time we've got pre-bans coming back around, and it is going to be that pick for Crispy Bacon getting first pick this time around, say. So who is he going to be looking to ban out on the side from Unarmed, so to try and disrupt maybe a little bit of his play? He's going to take out that Chandra and that Nashri. We didn't see it in that last match, but he's scared of it.
Yeah, he's definitely scared of it, so let's see if Crispy Bacon now also goes for the steal on that Vanessa, because that might disrupt the whole comp of Unarmed one more time. Let's see. Yep, there he goes.
Does take it away right now, so Unarmed can look to respond with a different speed lead. Showing off the Adriana already there, maybe a little bit early, but Twin Angels is always a nice one.
Yeah, Twin Angels is definitely a nice one, but you can expect Crispy Bacon to once again go for that Sonya, and that is something that Unarmed has in his mind right now. Because if he goes for the Adriana plus a speed lead right now, he's gonna get outsped by a Sonya plus a 33 that's already on the field.
Exactly, mind games coming in, even in the first 2 picks of the draft right now. Bella coming out, we've seen how much time. That's a quick response.
Yeah, I think he was speed running that one. The timer didn't even hit the 29 seconds. He was already just like, okay, you're gonna draft something like this, something slower than me, instantly going for those units. Unarmed does have a lot of fast units too, but the big issue is there's a 33 lead on your enemy side, so you have to be looking at locking in an Oliver or a Samat or something to match that 33, or just simply ban that 33 at a later moment.
Yeah, or taking another high base speed unit right now, signaling you're probably going to need a speed lead in that 5th pick right now. Crispy Bacon, maybe you want to secure another speed lead just as a backup?
Yeah, you could go for another speed lead and another speed unit. Those are the options there, but the options are somewhat slim, because the only ones that I can think of, well, Tomo is actually one that I normally don't think of that much, but it's definitely an option right there. And then maybe something along the line of a Segment. No, actually goes back to the Lydia.
Lydia coming out to play for Crispy Bacon right there. We said for Unarmed, maybe needs another speed lead as well, since he's going to be competing against those units going very fast from the Sonya and the Gianna. Who do you look for now, though?
Well, it's also the big question always, is it Gianna on Swift or is it Gianna on Violent? Because if the Gianna is on Violent, then you could simply ban out the Sonya, and then some of your units will outtake even if you don't go for a speed lead. But that is something you never know.
Never know, and he's taking the full amount of time to get that last pick. Oh, we nearly had a Douglas coming in there, but it is Adriana in the end coming out. Speed lead ban?
Yeah, I definitely would say Speedly Ben on the right side. On the left side, maybe he wants to go for that Sonya Ben, because I think that's the only safe bet that he can have. That, okay, if the Gianna is on Violet, it might be a good draft for him.
Whoa, taking away the 33% speed lead of Vanessa instead then against Crispy Bacon. We've got speed lead and an attack lead coming out in our Summoners War European League. Match 4, set 2 between Crispy Bacon and Unarmed. Crispy Bacon 1-0 up at the moment.
Ooh, and that Gianna was actually swift indeed, so would have taken the turn regardless. Sonya once again making quick work of her enemies.
Definitely. Tomoe right now can look to maybe get a suppression going out. Just going for the spread of the stuns instead then at the moment.
And this is where enemy has a lot of speed, and therefore you do a lot of damage. Lilia nearly half HPing the whole team.
Look at that coming out clutch right there. Just outsped from the beginning, say. Managing now to really confirm it, landing those extra bombs. More damage coming in. It's going to be a dead Bella very, very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, Sonya just shows how strong she is. If she's at the right draft at the right moment, she just takes out a lot of units.
Definitely. And even now, the attack piling in, but it's only going to be confirmed by that bomb for Crispy Bacon, taking a 2-0 win against Unarmed right there, say. Both of them were currently 8th in the leaderboard. 2 points is going to really push Crispy Bacon higher up into this draft, into this leaderboard. But that draft, he was ready. He was prepared.
Yeah, actually, I was talking about Unarmed doing his homework, but this case, I was completely wrong. It was Crispy Bacon doing a lot of his homework. And that's what you can see with the players that are highly contested on that Vanessa. The other units that they like to work where their way around is mostly Twin Angels, but it's not working as well for them as that Vanessa. And that's what the thing you have with the pre-ban. One point, you pre-ban it if they have the first pick. If you have the first pick, you just pick it yourself. And they don't have it both rounds. And you have just a best of 2. So simply that way, the core unit that they're using cannot be used in both matches.
Exactly, just kind of putting your opponent at a disadvantage straight away from that drafting phase. It's perfect in a best of 2. How do you answer it? How do you respond against it later off in those matches? And Crispy Bacon showing that he has done his homework there against Unarmed and taking a 2-0. I think it ruins the pattern for us, but maybe we can make a new pattern anytime soon, say, because we're all about the patterns here of seeing these leaderboards coming up. But what a clutch play from Crispy Bacon. I think he lost 2-0 in that very first match. Oh no, it was a 1-1. So he's got 3 points from today. Pwah.
Yep, he's already looking very good at 3 points sitting right now. But someone else that's trying to probably do what Malignant did last week. Pinkroyd tried to get... Well, Malignant didn't make it all the way to 6 points in one day. He made it to 5. So let's see if Pinkroyd can even that up or maybe overtake that even. Or Jocelynio has something to say about that.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a big matchup right here between Jocelynio and Pinkroyd coming up in our very next match right here. So, big contender to come up against, especially when he's so high up on the leaderboard as well. Not only his prestige already. Clear favorite?
Well, I would say Pinkroyd clear favorite because also, once again, Jocelynio kind of has been drafting the same style. And the moment you take him out of his comfort zone, once again, the comfort zone is that Vanessa. If you utilize that, or just hard counter it, which Pinkroyd could also very well do, then it's a very hard draft for Jocelynio. So let's see what the two gentlemen go for the pre-ban over here.
Exactly. Pinkroyd's Jongnam has been eating good the past couple of rounds. Is there some tapas on the menu tonight for him? Let's find out in our Summoners War European League. Match 5 between Jocelynio and Pinkroyd. Interesting bans coming out.
Yeah, definitely bans on mostly units you don't want to be playing against because you do know your enemy will be playing that into you. In this case, Pinkroyd doesn't go for a Vanessa first pick, but actually goes for a Sekhmet first pick. Sekhmet is a good resetter, but if your enemy drafts a lot of passives, skill 2 resetting is mostly not that impactful. So let's see what he's drafting up with that draft.
We've got a Vanessa coming out. We've got the Shahat as well coming out on the side of Jocelynio. I'd say kind of pocket picks for him as we've seen so far, and that's a pocket pick on the side of Pinkroyd. That Jongnam has been deadly.
Absolutely, and maybe he's thinking that he doesn't need the speed lead because all of the units from Jocelynio that follow up aren't super fast, so maybe he can leave the speed lead all the way less there, which definitely can work. But Jocelynio is definitely in his comfortable zone right now with all of those passive units.
Definitely, but we saw it before in a match with Pinkroyd. That Sekhmet loves to eat up buffs on the side of the other person. Putting that light unicorn in right now, say, is that a response to saying maybe that Sekhmet has to go?
Well, it's something right there, but then again, the Light Unicorn cooldowns are pretty short as well, so I don't think it is that bad of a unit in this position. It also has like that strong passive that sometimes works very well, where the enemy just doesn't crit, doesn't land anything, but Brinkert actually goes for some passive units himself. Plus, TL Lang really likes to face off against a Sahat and a Water Gojo, because those units every turn get a lot of attack bar.
They definitely do. We're going into a bruiser match here right now. No speed lead coming out on the side of Pinkroyd. Josselina, are you going to just carry on and continue bruising right there?
Well, it is an option. I definitely do think he has to be thinking about banning out that TL Lang, because the TL Lang will be very annoying for his two units that we see at the bottom. So let's see what his final pick will be. Rakuni, then it's 100% TL Lang ban right there.
So much sustain there coming in from that Raccoon. It's going to be very annoying with the attack bars as well going into a Tian Lang. But on the side of Josselina, who are you banning out?
You could go for that Vanessa, because that would make things easier to kill. But if you get rid of the Saad, most of the damage is actually gone. So I'm liking the draft of Pinkroyd, and that's a good ban right there.
Let's find out. Our Summoners War European League, Match 5, Set 1 between Josselina and Pinkroyd. Can Pinkroyd get a 6-0 this week? Let's find out if Sekhmet can land her stuff.
Yes, Segment, where are you going to connect it? Also, the Gojo is looking very fast. It might be a swift unit. I would be surprised if on that speed it's also going for Despair. So, but the big question is also, where's the real damage going to be from? Because there's a lot of chip damage, but there's no actual hard damage on the side of Josselino at all.
Definitely, and Pinkroyd does have that in abundance with that Ashura as well. So doesn't manage to get some stuns right now, but it's going to be a cleanse coming in with some big defense breaks potential.
Yeah, also, once again here, what is your first target? Because if that Vanessa, I think we have seen it before, that Vanessa is very high on the tanky side as well. So just going for a skill 3 right now would probably just get cleansed off later on. Actually manages to land a silence on most likely 100 res target.
Yeah, but managing to trade off a stun there right now, but we're going to be getting more sustained shield coming up from that Angela. It's going to be annoying because all this chip damage isn't really going to hurt.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be taking a long time for the chip damage to start rocking in hard. And on the enemies, or like on the side of Pinkroyd, we have the Bayek and also the Jongnam scaling from HP. So their damage is gonna go down the longer the match takes. However, on the bottom side, we see a main damage dealer as that Gojo, I would say, which is the main damage on defense, which is also not gonna go up or down. So we're definitely going to be looking at a very long match over here.
Yep, we're in it for the long haul, folks. Make sure you've grabbed your popcorn and drinks for this matchup right now. Let's see if there's an opportunity that arises, though, at any point. Jongnam right now can look to get maybe some branding, get some more damage in. Going in for that Gojo.
Going in for that Gojo, going for the additional turn, but also this Gojo seems to be pretty tanky itself on the HP side, so it's not doing all too much. Most of the time, a human form unicorn is pretty low on the HP, so that might be a target at some point, but then again, there's also still that Vanessa with the extra life.
Yep. Are you going to look to even do it at this point right now? Only seeing skill 1 and skill 2 coming out from that Fire Bayek so far in this matchup. It's going to be a long one, say.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a long one, but in the end, the Adriana is the best sustainer on the field between all of the play, or like between all of the units over here. So that is the one that's going to be the most dangerous, I would say. But it's also very good for Pinkroyd to be holding on to that skill 3 from the bike until you get the perfect moment to actually connect it into something that you might take out rather than just doing a bunch of chip damage.
Exactly, it's all about that perfect moment. Big freeze coming out there from that Jongnam as well, preventing any of the cleansing coming in from that light unicorn right now. A defense break is nice, but you have to maybe capitalize on it. Oh,
that's a good amount of damage, and that's actually on Violent, and during the Violent does manage to stun as well, so there's an okayish amount of damage going into that Bayek, but that's also definitely something, once again, that Angela has something to say about.
She definitely will. She'll be taking that turn. Maybe not quite yet, though. Does Rakuni have a play within this?
I'm not sure, because no matter how you do it, it's not gonna go likely that you will end up killing that Bayek. So 5k crit from Rakuni does help a little bit, though.
Definitely does if you're hitting that much already. This match is going to be going long enough where those kind of chip small damages are going to be totaling and adding up.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see where Pinkroyd is going to be locking in his damage. Trying to get some stuns on those skill 1s. Did not connect as of this moment, but Gojo's doing a good job at it so far.
Definitely is. The shields are coming in clutch as well, just keeping that health right now. Skill 2 coming in. Can lance some heal blocks there, but Unicorn's coming soon.
It's coming soon, but this is the armor break potential. Right now, we go for the third skill on that bike, instantly taking out a target that is already armor broken. So therefore, we have that first life being down for the Vanessa.
Yeah, and not managing to connect with that defense break would have been huge with a Gojo coming out very soon. But Angela, just keep cycling, keep shielding.
Yep, keep cycling and keep shielding. That's how we do this. But also, there's just so much healing because all of the units on the side of Pinkroyd are max HP again.
Yeah, they're straight back up, healthy as ever as they've been before. Rakuni can look to do that as well, get some health back in there right now. It's all about the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is where the Gojo feels a little bit awkward because the other units will start dealing more damage while the bike actually goes down in damage by a little bit. Ooh, managed to resist. So the Vanessa passive is actually possible to resist for a longer time right now. But if you don't connect your skills, it's actually not going to do that. And we have a 40% up and 40% down at this moment.
Is Vanessa coming out there with
Despair
her own
on the Vanessa. Yeah, that's not something you see all the time because in the end it doesn't happen too often. But if it happened, it is always very crucial right there.
Definitely is. And I think she nearly has a skill 3 backup as well anyway, needing to maybe land. Going for the Gojo, resisted again from a Sekhmet.
No, it was actually the increased cooltime was the only thing that did connect. It was resisted on both the strip and the pushback. So it did show a double resistance check, but the cooldown increase is still there. So Gojo only has skill 1 at the moment.
Skill 1 then. Can you look to get a stun coming out? Going into that Bayek. Nice little stun. Rakuni. Push up again.
Yeah, if you go for the push-up right now, the big question is how does the cycling goes with the immunity? Because the moment that you get a turn from the Jongnam, it might still be AoE stuns, but we're just chip damaging each other that much that we're at like 50-50 right now already. Silence. We do connect the silence.
Silence is good as well. It's going to prevent any of the revives if you target a different unit, but all that damage is going into the Vanessa anyway.
Can we get more stuns? Actually, does not manage to get the stuns, and that's where we have the giant bat coming in. Can we get stuns? We get a lot of stuns over here, and we don't have the turn right now on the Unicorn to go for skill 2 cleanse.
She can't cleanse right now. Does manage to get a provoke, but countered with a freeze as well. Is this the opportunity to try and get rid of that Vanessa?
It very much looks like Curse of the Beautiful is probably going to do a lot of damage. Actually, not as much damage because no armor break on that Vanessa. But we have a stunned up Unicorn right now, and therefore, well, I'm not too sure if it was the right choice to go for that. However, it takes the additional turn, but even if you switch right now, you do not have the cleanse, so I'm not too sure about using that skill 2 earlier. But we get once again a stun, so it's a lot of sustain, but it's also a lot of stuns back and forth.
Definitely is right now. Vanessa is still not looking super healthy, but Rakuni's got a little bit of something to say about that. I think Bayek is very close to skill 3 as well, though. Could be maybe enough.
It could maybe be enough, but we also go for another round of the Unicorn, going for skill 2. So crits coming in is going to be more difficult, but is this the time where you're actually going to just send it? Does send it, but crits did not connect that much, and therefore we don't have that much damage. But if you go for a bunch of skills right now, you might actually be taking things out. 4k, that's a lot of HP from the Unicorn.
Definitely is right now, and we can see the Gojo coming in, doing some good damage, going in right now, getting the stuns when needed.
Yep, getting in the stuns, but he's not really getting in the damage. But we're so far for attack up that Gojo's skill 1 seems to be doing more damage than the skill 2 right now. And that's why you're kind of sad why he's not on a 7th game. We're down to the 70-70 mark, and the 70-70 mark is the highest mark you have. And this is where support units start killing each other. You have another 20 turns at this before you get a draw. I think it's 20 or 30 turns. Maybe it's more. Someone maybe in the chat can correct me on that one. But you might get into a draw right now, but this is kind of the point where everyone just starts killing each other really bad.
Yeah, they are putting in good damage, and if that Jongnam's going to be taking a skill 3 anytime soon, it could be huge damage. Do you go for a stun instead?
Well, the Reflect might kill your own unit, so I'm not too sure if you want to go for skill 2 right now. Goes for skill 2, kills its own unit, comes back. Oh, this
did you
is
keep
insane.
count?
Well, no, I think we're not going to go in towards a draw that much because I think the Sekhmet is going to be doing too much damage, but the Rakuni might have something to say about it because Rakuni at this point is just also doing a stupid amount of damage.
It is, but Vanessa, can you get a defense break? Not enough to kill the Angela right now, and I think skill 3 is coming soon from that Jongnam, and like you said, Sekhmet as well. Is this the longest match ever?
I think for the league so far, longest match ever, but that armor break from that right there just made it work. We finally had that armor break landing, and yes, this was by far the longest match we have casted so far in the Summoners War European League 2025.
Pinkroyd 1, Josselino 0. I mean, took a while to get to that one, say, but I mean, it just shows you've got to be there to win it, you know? You've got to stick around, wait until that 70-70, do a Raccoony 7k hit on the skill 1. Like, what?
Yeah, that's definitely a lot of damage. But at that point, the strongest damage dealer on the field becomes that Sekhmet. So, and we still saw that Vanessa nearly doing no damage whatsoever. So it's very tanky. It is on Despair, but it's having no damage whatsoever. And Pinkroyd is not having anything of it right now.
No. Jongnam is taken out as well as that Vanessa right now. Jocelyn is going to be having that first pick as well right now. Are we going to see another incredibly long bruiser match, say, or are they going to change it up?
I think they're definitely going to be changing it up, because every time that Jocelyn didn't have the Vanessa, he couldn't go as comfortably for all of his passive units as he liked to do. He has been using a Sekhmet himself before, so that could maybe be a steal, because so far, Pinkroyd has every time been locking in that Sekhmet. This time around, goes for the Chandra and a Sekhmet.
Yeah, partnering it up with that Sekhmet, coming in clutch at the end of the matches, getting those cool times in with the skill 3, and also just stealing some of the buffs that were coming out from a unit like that Water Gojo. Jocelyn in that second and third pick right now. It's going to dictate what he's doing. We've got a Shahat, we've got a Velajul.
Yeah, definitely varies on the style of a slight different base of draft where you cannot go for the full passive comp. So the Velajul is a little bit different, but the Shahat is definitely always a core unit that he likes to utilize. But then again, Tianlang is really strong against Shahat, because every time that Shahat takes a little bit extra attack bar, Tianlang will take that attack bar from him.
Exactly, stealing it and using it for himself and partnering it up with a Julian. We haven't seen a lot of him in the Summoners War European League, but how deadly that skill 2 can be.
Absolutely. It is somewhat hard counted right now by a Zenitsu, but then again, Zenitsu can already be reset by units such as the Sekhmet, so that is already a little bit covered, but still an option that he could opt to go for.
Let's find out this 4th and 5th pick. Can Jocelyn look to get a point against a previous 3-time Europe champion at SWC? We've got a Smicer, and we've got a Miles coming out for some damage.
Yeah, definitely interesting comps right there with the Miles and the Smicer, because in the end, doing any of the pushbacks on the Julian does help, but the silences don't, because he just simply cleanses that off. And on the other side, we do have something against all of those debuffs that are landing in, and therefore I do think that we're going to see a Veramos ban as well.
Veramos there, maybe a Miles seeing that damage as well that could be coming out against it from the side of Jocelyn.
Yeah, Miles could definitely be an option. Also, that's hot. There's a few good options over there to be banning in the first place, I would say.
Let's find out, using the full amount of seconds, the same amount of seconds that they needed for that last match there, say. Let's find out between Jocelyn and Pinkroyd. We've got Julian taken out. We've got Miles, 2 damage dealers taken away. Speed leads for both of them as they're going into our Summoners War European League Match 5, Set 2. Pinkroyd and Jocelyn. Pinkroyd, can he get that 6-0 in terms of this match weekday right now? Will Sekhmet start that off for him?
As Sekhmet connected so far, Pinkroyd Sekhmet has been very consistent, and so it still shows.
Definitely does. Chandra can come in now. Look to put a defend over onto that Veramos then already. Do you look to boost the attack bar already, or wait a little bit? Yeah.
Yep, in this case, we're just gonna go for a strip right there, setting up for some other unit potentially doing in some more damage. But let's see what Jocelyn is gonna be aiming for. We're gonna go for strip, try to take out that Sekhmet from last time. Does not connect an armor break, however.
Oh, big stuns coming out from that Tian Lang though, say.
Yeah, that is a triple stun from a Tianlang. That doesn't happen all too often, and in this case, the Veramos is actually holding off to its own stun because it's just simply not needed. But we have a Smicer that has something to say about it as well, with a double silence plus a cursed apple, but no stun.
No, but Shahat is here to say, I'm here. Let's wake up from that stun right now. Do a bit of damage coming in, going into that Tian Lang. It's a good amount of damage, and a bomb could maybe take it out if it's still there.
Yeah, the big question is that bomb still going to be there at that moment? We're looking for AoE stuns right now. If the stun mainly connects on that Veramos, that is the key component and the key target that you're looking for. And we're actually going for 3 units.
Does get the stuns, but that bomb is cleansed right now. He's going to have to target into that Tian Lang on the side of Jocelyn to get rid of it. Woo.
But that armor break is connecting. With that armor break connecting, also this Shahat is overtaking turns right now. It's not overtaking turns, but you can boost stuff to make it overtake turns. And you can actually take out that Tian Lang pretty fast this way.
I think the Tian Lang could be saying goodbye-bye from this field right now. With that skill 1, it's going to take it out. 3v4.
3v4, how many not silences, how many slows do we connect? Every time the silence is actually very well connecting towards the 2 targets that don't cleanse it off itself. We also almost say goodbye to this Valor, so we have 3 apiece.
Yeah, we do, and I think that Veramos is going to be able to take out that Villagel coming in soon. But can you get some good damage there? Yes, you can.
Definitely some good damage, but it also does mean right now with Tianlang not on the field, the Veramos passive is also in full effect right now. So you have to be careful with it, because in the end, there's just a lot of potential for cleanses.
There is cleanses, but that's why he's targeting into that Veramos right now. Get it off the field and you don't have to deal with it.
Focus shot, armor break, does connect the armor break early, and it's actually doing a good amount of damage right there.
Oh, gets the cool time as well. No bombs will be coming, and you can throw up a little defend on that Veramos. Oh.
Yep, defend, additional turn, trick of water, going for some more slows.
Oh, I'm getting some big stuns as well from Veramos. Can't get the defense breaks from that silence, though.
Also, the big question is, in the end, the only cleanser on the side of Pinkroyd, or the only healer on the side of Pinkroyd, is that Veramos, which only has a little bit of chip healing, whereas the Smicer in general, skill 1, is healing more, but this Chandra's just working on a double defense of 2 and 3 turns right now. That's just a lot of work right there.
So much defense coming out right now. Veramos trying to get rid of that Smice, but it's not going to be enough going into it.
That's actually a very bad additional turn from that Veramos, because the Veramos is removing the defense by itself. Oh. And is now gonna get stunned as well. So this match might actually be in the back for Josselino, where Pinkroyd was simply proccing too much at some point.
Yeah, because right now he can confirm that kill on the Veramos. There's no more sustain, and silences are going to be super annoying.
Yeah, that's one of those units that you don't see all too much anymore. That Smicer, we kind of feel like, oh, it's not doing enough because it's just healing that 10% where it used to be a 15% heal before. But if the silences are there, if there's no immunity that he has to strip first, it's still a very consistent and very annoying unit to deal with, as we can see over here.
Oh, not quite enough to take out that Smicer as well. Gonna try and land the bomb. Does manage to get it with the stun as well, and can maybe heal soon as well.
Yeah, if you go for this healing right now, another focus shot, definitely trying all his aim to just simply take out the units one by one, confirming his skills. I definitely do think that is the right way to work. And now he can go fully onto that segment. So, also for Pinkroyd, can't make it all the way to 6-0 in one day.
We've still never seen it in the Summoners War European League 2025. 5 has been the best out of the possible 6 points that any player can win right there. We had a very long first set there, say, but that second set sped up a little bit. But you can see Josselino kind of coming back and dealing really with the Veramos in terms of the response from Pinkroyd. Maybe getting not the perfect plays, which is maybe even unlike Pinkroyd in that sense as well. But you can see they're splitting the points 1 apiece. He's still going to be very much near the top of our leaderboard, Pinkroyd. And also Josselino now. That extra point is crucial if you're around that top 8, top 7 position as well. How do you think he's going to be looking into his final match of today?
Yeah, I definitely do think he has been looking more at that Sahad. I think that unit just simply does do a lot of work for him, and that's also why he's been drafting it that much. But that's also why you see like a hard counter to it, such as a Veramos, at some point can be taken out by the own unit that you're trying to counter. Sahad is really dangerous, and definitely a unit that you maybe should be respecting, besides that Vanessa, of course.
Exactly. How are you going to deal with Josselino's Shahat in that next match? And we'll be having a look at all of the matches that have taken place so far today and see where things are kind of stacking up with the points and, of course, with the pattern. The pattern doesn't exist, sir.
No, this is, I think, the worst pattern we have so far of all weekdays. So that's we're not going to talk about the pattern anymore. That is for next week, again, because the pattern here is completely messed up. You know what's not messed up? 2 Frenchies belling it out against one another with Tech and Slay.
Yeah, Tech and Slay. Slay already got 1 point from today. Tech sadly nothing from his previous matchup against Pinkroyd there. But it's going to be interesting. These guys facing off against each other. Both of them probably unknowns before the start of this Summoners War European League as well. Favourite for you going into this one?
For me, it's pretty hard to say because they both have a play style. The moment it connects and the moment it works really well for them. But we also have seen for both players, sometimes it not really work out. So far we've seen a very high contest on Gianna's being pre-banned all the time. And I think we will see that once again in this matchup as well.
Slay will be looking to control this match, but let's hope there are no technical difficulties along the way. Let's find out in our Summoners War European League, match 6, set 1 between Tech and Slay here, say. I mean, these guys, they've already faced off against some tough opponents already today. Crispy Bacon and Pinkroyd between both of them. this is their chance maybe to go against a competitor that's maybe seen as a little bit easier, but I mean, everyone in this Summoners War European League is still difficult. Kavachi pre-banned, a Sigrid pre-banned as well.
Yeah, it's actually interesting to see because often you get asked like, oh, how can I replace unit X with another unit? And the two of them actually share a very similar thing, attack bar boost and attack bar buff. So let's see what the two gentlemen go for if both of them actually use their core cleave setup unit.
Yeah, we've got a Ciara coming in there, taking a speed lead on the side of Slayer right now. How is Tech going to look to respond right now? You were saying that earlier, we've seen a Kavachi pre-band and a Sigrid. Did you prepare an Adriana already, knowing that would happen? Or are you going to pick a Heigang and a Chandra?
It's a very early Heigang, but you do know that Slay does have that Gianna, so it kind of disables Slay to lock in a early Gianna, but you still have to remind it could pop up in the slot 4, slot 5, if that Heigang does feel like a banned scenario right there. Segment, always a good option, but you have to keep in mind that you might be slower than the enemy if you're on same leads, because Athena is simply 5 higher base speed than that Segment.
Exactly. Do you trust your runes enough at this moment to see how fast you are? Let's find out. Irene coming out.
Interesting position for an Irene, because Irene is mostly drafted into a bruiser scenario. So if the enemy shows a lot of bruisers, such as that we saw in the previous match, that's why you like to put in an Irene. However, if the enemy is already showing like, hey, I'm potentially outspeeding you, I'm not sure if Irene works that well. However, Irene does, in its own respect, counter a Heigang because she simply just doesn't care about it because she puts a unit away.
Yeah, and we're getting response coming out from Tech there, bringing the Nephthys and the Juno. Usually a counter for a Nephthys as well right there, so to maybe taking one away. How will Slay look to respond right now?
Yeah, it's definitely the big question right now. Do you want to speed contest more right now or not? Because definitely a Gianna does not fit in this position. But if you want to speed contest, you have to go for another fast unit and a speed lead. That is a speed lead, but that is a 21 speed lead though.
It is, but if you partner up with a Sonya, there's 2 snipe potentials coming out from the side of Slay right now. How is Tech going to look to respond? Do you need to lock in another speed lead just to be sure, or...?
Yeah, I definitely do think you have to be looking at more speed leads right now, but the speed leads that I can think of, Oliver might be a good option, but moment that you go for an Oliver right now, I do expect your Etha to be banned out, so maybe Vanessa's better because it counts the Sonya?
Yeah, you've got a revive coming in that skill 3 option as well right now. If Slay wants to continue with those sniping, maybe it's a must ban for that Vanessa.
Yeah, it could be a ban on that Vanessa. On the other side, it is kind of the gamble of like, is your Athena faster than a Sekhmet and a Sonya, or do you still ban out one of the two?
Let's find out right now. Sonya being banned out and the Vanessa being banned out as well. We've got the speed lead for both of our guys going into the Summoners War European League Match 6. Set 1 between Tech and Slay. Let's find out who can take that crucial point.
We actually have Sekhmet moving first, and we still have... Oh, I forgot about that. We're looking at Tech, and Tech does not have a Violet... Or he does have an Athena that's mostly on Violet or Despair, so that is disbeneficial unless, once again, Sekhmet decides to not be a Pink Droid Sekhmet.
Oh! Still didn't manage to take out that Etna as well right now. You're not going to look to maybe waste it from the Irene there?
Yeah, the thing is you want to use this somewhere else, most likely on the Nephthys, and still does connect it on the Nephthys, does fully land on the Nephthys, but in its own response, Etna, how much can you do right now? Because it did manage to survive that Kiara, and that's also the thing with Kiara. If you put too much speed on her, without the attack buff, she's not going to do that much damage.
Yeah, he's managed to get the stun on Ciara and an extra stun, but Ciara says, I'm here to stay.
She's here to stay. You can definitely be looking at locking in this bomb on that Heigang, but then potentially just going for a skill 1, which would do more damage on that Etna, goes for a skill 3, but therefore is not taking out that Etna itself.
No, but you can look to try and confirm it right now with the Sekhmet. Do you waste a skill 3 going into it, though, just to get the immunity?
Yeah, I definitely would go for the immunity right here, because you also have your skills up at this position, so you can still go for that skill 3. However, there is an option for skill 2 Juno over here, so you might just opt for doing a skill 1. No, actually does go for the skill 3.
Goes in to get maybe the attack buff. Can we deal a little bit more chip damage coming into the Heigang or the Nephthys right now, wherever you choose? But Juno, it's your time. Will you do it?
Juno has potential. Juno actually misses on half of the units, which is definitely not something you would like to see. So in this position, Kiara will go back to a skill 2 at a later moment. Was able to stun that Ciara from a Heigang, so wrong element right there. But in this case, a skill 2, you would have to land the heal blocks. That is the main thing. If you go for the skill 2, we're looking for heal blocks, and we're not connecting any heal. Well, this didn't make too much sense. The Nefties, which is the right or okay element, landed nothing on, but the wrong element, you land a few on it there.
Yeah, exactly. Kiara right now with that skill 1 glancing on there as well. Juno, can you start to pile in some more damage right now? There is that Endure on the side of Slay, though.
Yeah, that Endure definitely does help out, but the Juno cycles a lot faster because of that speed buff, so Juno might still be able to do it, but it's definitely going to be difficult. Plus, you can actually reset the Juno. Decides not to reset the Juno, so I'm not sure if Juno... Ooh, if you can get a Despair stun right now, does not manage to get a Despair stun, and therefore we have the Juno not being taken out. These units are super tanky.
So tanky right there, but it is going to be clutched up from the Irene right now. Haegang and Nephthys versus this Irene and Sekhmet. It's looking good for Slay.
It's absolutely looking good for Slay, and I'm not sure if this Nephthys is on Violent, because a lot of Nephthys is nowadays, because it's drafted a little bit less, they're more likely on Swift. But in this case, that worked out very well for Slay, but for Tactic, unfortunately, that Juno did not connect as well as she would have liked to see.
Exactly. Super tanky on the side of Tech there, say. Etna taking 2 hits coming out there as well, and even the Juno managing to survive that skill 2 as well. If it had have been managing to take a turn, maybe it could have done a little bit more, but you've got to respect the tankiness.
Yeah, absolutely. These units, whether they're also being fast, they're also being pretty tanky. But then again, Tactic is back to an Ethna that is on Violent. So for that reason, you have to slightly... well, you have to respect the speed of enemies a little bit more, because sure, you can survive with a lot of those HPs that he has, but in the end, you cannot really speed contest if your enemy is going to go hard speed contesting.
Exactly. You can't contest it if it's there. Pre-bans coming in for this one. It's going to be the Gianna. We've got a Haegang in response to it as well. Perfect pre-bans if you're Slay there, maybe.
I would rather say perfect pre-ban for Tactic, because the Gianna's pre-banned and the Haegang is pre-banned. So that is the position, like, you want to be having a Gianna open when the Haegang is not there. So Tactic read that very well by banning the Gianna there, and therefore Slay cannot have an opening of a free Gianna when there's no Haegang on the field.
Exactly. First pick then coming in for Tech right now, looking to steal that Ciara then.
Interesting steal right there. Slay does still have that Zeratul, which showcased in previous days that is very strong. So let's see if he's gonna opt for that. He's gonna go for the Oliver and for a Sekhmet in there.
Exactly. Oliver making his first appearance from this match week in Summoners War European League as a 33 lead. How is Tech going to respond? We know he's got that Sigrid right there. Is there going to be some more damage coming out?
If he goes for the Athna right now, it's definitely an opener for Slay to go something along the lines of Robos. Now, actually goes for the second speed lead already with that Vanessa, but if you go for Robos right now, you do know that that Secret last few weeks was on the Violent every time. Thus far, I don't think we have seen it on the field just yet, so you're not 100% sure if it is Violent or he might have switched it up to Swift.
Let's find out. It's why we're here, but then you can bring your own Jong now, and you can bring that Zeratul as well. So Slay going back to it with that speed lead, coming in with the damage follow-up as well. How is Tech going to keep responding here? Maybe needs another high base speed.
He could go for the Etna right now. I definitely do think it is an opener for that, because in the end, you will outspeed most of the units because you do already have 2 speed leads. And he can be looking in another protection unit or another speed unit itself, because in the end, there are strips on the enemy side, but it is all single target.
It is. We've got the Etna, we've got the Lima coming back out as well, so there is some more sustain coming out for Tech. But Slay has his own version of that with the Kavachi.
Yep, we have the Kovaci coming in there, but what we do see over here is that the left side does have 2 speed leads, where the right side only has 1 speed lead. So it could be potential ban on the speed lead on that Oliver right there. But in the end, even without a speed lead, might that Sekhmet outspeed anything?
Let's find out. Even the Kavachi was super fast as well, and he's respected the Kavachi in the ban phase here. We're going to have speed leads, 24 and a 33 for both of the players in our Summoners War European League. Match 6, set 2. Between Tech and Slay, both rank 6. That extra point will be really helpful right now.
We do also see that all of the units on the side of Slay do outspeed all of the units on the side of Tech. So this is definitely the opener where you do not want to see your Sekhmet get double resisted.
Definitely don't. Are you just going to keep on tumbling in some damage then now going into that, and resisted as well right now? But Zeratul, what have you got to say about it?
I think this Oliver has to do a lot of work right now with the Zeratul extra turn. Zeratul gets the extra turn, so that is where that luck went over there. You do still have to reset on that Lima right now. Does get the reset on the Lima, so we do take out a few units. However, we still have a Ciara on the field, which could do a lot of work with an attack buff.
Exactly. She can look to land the bomb. You need to land it right now. Gets it on the Oliver as well. Looking to detonate. Whoa!
29k instantly taken out, and you have to be looking at still resetting that Lima because the Lima's only one turn away from her skills. If she get those skills in right now, it will be very bad for your units.
Let's go in for the Ciara then right now. We can look to use a skill 2 from the Sigrid as well.
Did not fully connect, so Zeratul, once again, all eyes are on you. Can you get this extra damage in? Because Lima is looking at a skill 3.
Yep, and it's the opportunity now. Get that skill 3 up. Sekhmet, does she have skill 3 still coming though?
No, she doesn't have skill 3. She's 2 turns away at this position. No, she's 1 turn away at this position because she did actually steal 1 buff. But if she had the right tuning that she could get that skill, it would have been very nice. But in this case, all that immunity just helps out very well for Ciara getting her bombs back as well.
Exactly. Can she cycle enough to get another bomb on there to look to detonate? Some good damage coming in then. Right now onto that Sekhmet.
Ooh, no additional turn given for a armor break, but an additional turn given for a bomb potential right there. However, I'm not sure if that is the best of bomb placements, because the moment that's... Oh wait, there was actually no potential to steal that invisibility, but also stripping that invisibility did not connect thus far. Can we get those? We get those, and we get a lot of TOA dots over there as well.
Are you going to opt to just get some defense breaks out on the field right now for some damage? No, going for the skill 3 instead.
I think a defense break would have been more interesting, because the moment you land that defense break, anything that Zeratul will touch at that moment just insta-kills. Whereas right now you have to probably take 2 or 3 turns to kill that Secret and 2 turns to kill that Ciara, so it still takes a little bit of time. But then again, there's also nothing to strip that Zeratul right now, and TacTac knows that, and Zeratul is one of those units that has the perfect uptime for immunity for itself, whereas a lot of immunity providers, AoE, they always have that one off turn where they don't have it. Whereas the Zeratul always has immunity, it's just so strong.
Exactly, and you can just see how much damage comes out from those additional turns as well from the Zeratul. That is why he conceded that point there to Slay, taking it at 2-0. 2-0 is a huge right now. It's going to really boost you up that leaderboard like we've been saying there, and it's interesting to see how it's taking shape on our leaderboard. We've only got 3 more matches left today, and then again, every one of the players is going to be on the same amount of matches played, so we'll see exactly how they're going into that very last week. Next week on Wednesday at 8 o'clock, where we'll find out who makes it through to the playoffs, being in that top 8 right now. Again, super clutch play. I mean, when you've got Zeratul and he gets online, how much damage comes out there, like hammering the old rats again, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen it, I think, a whole bunch of weeks already. We don't have the exact win rate on it, but for my feeling, I think the Zeratul has won a lot of his matches where he was in, because it just simply enables that much damage, but also the permanent strip that he has in that skill 1. We saw it on the Lima. Lima put up that protection, 3 buffs. Zeratul just fully went through that with 1 additional turn, and it just works out so well for so much damage, where there's also just the additional dot damage on that unit as well. It just adds up. But what also adds up is the bracket that we have thus far, with the pattern that's completely all over the place at the moment. But we're going to be mainly looking at the last 3 matches.
Exactly. The last 3 matches will be coming up very, very soon. And thank you all for sticking around. We've still got 3 more matches, and we've just seen 6 matches as well. If you weren't here at the start of the day, remember 8 o'clock every Wednesday. And why do you sit and watch this with us? Because of coupon codes, right? That's why I sit and watch, and it's coming very soon. Get ready for it.
Yep.
Time to shine. Time to shine.
Another scroll right there. In this case, we're always joking about the Jongnam scroll. Well, if you pull a Jongwon out of this one, you're doing either something very wrong or something very right, and I'm not sure which one it is.
Exactly, especially if your Jongnam's been eating like Pink Royds has been eating over at Summoners War European League. He's going to be a very big boy. I can assure you that one as well. Make sure you're redeeming that coupon code either in the in-game if you're on the Android, if you're on iOS, using the kind of HTTP link that'll be posted in the chat as well. Make sure you let us know what you've got as well. 3 more matches to go though, 3 final chances potentially to get those extra 2 points. Are you excited for it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking very much forward to some more Lydias because I think that's the next round that's coming up right after this.
Exactly. Don't go anywhere, folks. Make sure you go grab yourself a drink, a little snack, a little toilet break, whatever you need to do. Summon that scroll, and we'll see you very, very soon. everyone, and welcome back to the Summoners War European League, where we have our last 3 matches of this weekday to find out who is going to be higher on that leaderboard to get into our final 8 places for the playoffs. Let us know in chat, what did you get? What did you summon? Are there any Jongnams floating around right now? Maybe some Epicon Priests, maybe some Drunken Masters. I mean, let's find out and see if we can get excited for these last 3 matches of today. So 3 matches that are going to be crucial to get those extra points and really climb up the leaderboard. Like I've been saying, I harp on about it, but it's best of 2s, and you really need to make them count. Any standout player for you today so far?
I would say, of course, Pinkroyd. He's the kind of the man that we're looking for. Like, can he get his 6-0? Cannot get his 6-0 in this case, but then we're looking at like the next best thing, the 5-1. And with that, I think he is the only one that is able to overtake that first position in the leaderboard right now. So that's definitely what we're looking for, if he can get a 2-0 on this one, because he's actually coming up right at this first match.
Exactly. Our next matchup is going to be Crispy Bacon versus Pinkroyd here. It's going to be a big battle right now to get those 2 points. Crispy Bacon has already got 3 points today, the same amount as Pinkroyd as well. So they're even Stevens from today. Who can look to extend that league? Is it wrong of me to say already, though, say maybe Pinkroyd is the favourite going into this matchup?
I would definitely say so, but then again, Crispy Bacon has been showing that he can do his homework. He did that very well against Unarmed, but then again, Unarmed has a more of a specific playstyle that you know what's coming, whereas Pinkroyd plays a little bit of everything, and everything works for him, so let's see how he prepares against that.
Exactly. He has been coming in clutch with the Sekhmets, with the Jongnams of this world as well. How is Crispy Bacon? He did his homework in that last match against Unarmed, and he came out clutch. Can he do it, though, against a back-to-back-to-back European champion from our SWC before? But here we go. What do you get if you combine Bacon and Roids? Probably an Inosuke Hashibabira, maybe. If you don't get that one, have a look in-game at how ripped he is. Pre-bans have come in there, then say we've got Sekhmet and we've got the Gianna.
Yeah, once again, Gianna's being just highly contested on the pre-bans all the time. It's one of those units that today they don't want to be seeing on the battlefield. Pinkroyd has been looking at mainly picking that Sekhmet as first picks, but does he go for a Jongnam first pick right now? Or does he like it that much because of the pair and he goes for Twin Angels right now?
Oh, coming in clutch from Crispy Bacon there. He's taken the Chandra, and he's taken an early Haegang as well then.
Yeah, it's definitely a very early Haegang right there, but Tianlang is something that does like Haegang as well. Then again, it does not always work out as you would like, but we also have the Irene. Actually does take out the Tianlang. Are we going to go for something else? We go for the Twin Angels double.
Wow, we've seen a lot of water units already coming out right now. Crispy Bacon then looking to lock in that Zeratu. Did clutch stuff for Slay in that very last match, and bringing out a Sonya for a snipe.
Yeah, definitely very strong units right now, and this is also definitely the position where Pinkroyd normally wants to lock in that segment, so very well pre-banned by Crispy Bacon right there. But then does he go for other speed units, such as the Atna and the Oliver?
Yeah, locking those in, getting the 33 speed lead, as well as that high base speed from the Etna right now. Crispy Bacon, maybe you're lacking in another speed lead right now.
Yeah, has to be looking in a speed lead, but I wouldn't be surprised if both of the 2 fast units leave the battlefield. So if you keep that in mind, that might be a play as well. Plus a Sonya, if you don't have that second speed lead, because he kind of forces himself into having to have that second speed lead right now. But none of the speed leads really seem too fitting. Actually goes for Tomoe, which is always an interesting one on the field. But I do expect still a ban on that Atna and potentially also on that Sonya.
Yeah, high base speeds are maybe going to be the play here to see the damage come out, and it is correct from Say. We've got speed leads, 24 from the side of Crispy Bacon, 33 for Pinkroyd. In our Summoners War European League, match 7, set 1 between Crispy Bacon and Pinkroyd. Taking that first turn is going to be the Twin Angels.
Yeah, big question is mainly more on the Irene than the Twin Angels right now, because if you strip with the Twin Angels at this moment, you will get yourself in a wrong position. So you want to get the Irene in first. So Irene, where are you going to be landing your 3rd skill, and do you fully connect it? We're going for the Zeratul. Does fully connect on that Zeratul.
Does, but there is immunity up on the side of the rest of the units for Crispy Bacon here, not allowing Oliver to really get in control of this match too much at the moment. Just putting in damage though.
Yeah, just a little bit damage. Going for that skill 2 is totally fine because you reset the skill 2 with that skill 3 at a later moment regardless. So it's not too bad of starting off with an S2 Oliver the moment that your enemy's on full immunity. But let's see what we can do over here. That's a good amount of damage right there already. But that is a very good stun, and having that stun already allows you to go for skill 3 right away rather than first going for skill 2. But let's see if he first still wants to go for skill 2. Goes right away for that skill 3. AoE stuns across the board.
Does manage to get it, but not on those Twin Angels, and we know they have a skill 2 of their own as well, but is it going to be suppressed right now? Oh!
Ooh, that is not suppressed, but that is very much stunned. Plus, there's still a glancing on it right there, so if the Zeratul can still get online, Zeratul might still have a big piece of this match.
He can, and he can be defended as well by the Chandra right now if you're looking to choose so, and does. Can you get some just more skill 1 chip damage coming in? Yes.
Ooh, but these Twin Angels have something to say about it. They can still go for that skill 2. It will bring the immunity. It will bring also the cooldown increase. If you do this on the Zeratul right now, sure, you will take a little bit of damage. Actually, it does go for the Tomoe, lowering the cooldowns of the Tomoe.
You can look to get some good damage coming in right now from this Zeratul then. Where are you going to put it? Are you going to go for the Water Twin Angels? Are you going to go for the Irene? Going for the Fire Twin Angels. Seeing the damage.
Go for the Fire Twin Angels with that additional turn. Actually spreading his damage a lot. Maybe a little bit too much for my liking, because where you could have guaranteed killed 1 unit, now you kill both units just a little bit, which maybe is not the right way.
But it is the right play if you're getting those big stuns at the important moments right now. Irene's going to distract them for a little bit.
Yeah, that distraction actually might make it where they survive. And I'm not 100% sure if the Water Twin Angels still have their healing skill up. However, the little bit of chip damage that comes after from this Tomoe. Oh, and this Zeratul once again shows why Zeratul is here on the field and is here to play. And also, once again, became a figurine because it's just that strong.
Exactly right now. Oliver does have all skills available. Can get the cool time. He's going to have to really put in some work in controlling the team here.
Well, actually, my eyes are more on that Irene, because the moment that Irene is the only... Oh, no, wait, we still have that strip right here. Can you go for the strip in this position on that Zeratul? I think you have to go for it. Actually decides not to go for it. Lets the Irene do it at a later moment, because the back of the Irene is still the only way of taking down that Zeratul at this position.
It is, but Oliver is just making sure to control. Irene, can you land? Yes.
Irene, once again, fully does connect. Plus, another trap over here, placing it on itself in this case. If you go for any skills right now, such as the suppression, you will get suppression on yourself.
Yeah, can you look to get rid of that Tomoe? It's not quite down yet. That would have been crucial for Pinkroyd. Oh.
Ooh, managing to stun it right now. You have to be looking at pushbacks on that Oliver. It is wrong element, but if you manage to land the stun, it is very crucial right there.
Definitely is. Maybe look to just try and confirm that kill on the Tomoe. Boost up the Oliver and get back into control.
Yep, boosting up that Oliver, and Oliver can go on to that Zeratul. Does actually miss on the Zeratul. There is cooltime on that Zeratul, so can it go for the immunity? But the moment it just takes turns, it will go into a little bit of healing every time.
Exactly, and right now just plying in some more damage. How much is going to be coming out here right now? You can get rid of those Twin Angels, and you get another turn.
Get the other turn, but does not have the immunity just yet. But that is a lot of damage on that Oliver, and Oliver has to start controlling 3 units right now, and that might be a little bit too much Oliver thinks, especially if you only have it as skill 2. If you get the additional turn right now, does not get the additional turn, and therefore Chandra will have some work of this too, because the moment you boost up right now, Zeratul will overtake that, it's even stunned, and Zeratul will definitely take out that on his skill 1 damage.
Wow, Crispy Bacon coming in clutch with that Zeratul right there. It was too much for Pinkroyd in this set number 1 right now, and he's just going to confirm it with that skill 1. Crispy Bacon, he's done his homework this week, says. So far taken 4 points out of a possible 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well played, but also utilizing that Sekhmet pre-ban. I think that is the best play he made on that whole banning phase. That Sekhmet pre-ban showing that it's like, okay, this is the key pivot unit that Pinkroyd needs to make all of his other units also work, and just simply taking that out. Very well played right there.
Yeah, very, very well played by Crispy Bacon. He likely will have that Gianna back in hand as well going into these next matches. We're going to see a respect on that Zeratul, taking away the Hair Gang, knowing that he's going to be likely to pick a Gianna in his draft as well, say.
Yeah, absolutely. And that respect on the Zeratul is definitely well placed as well, because so far, all of the Zeratuls from today just made it very quick work of their enemies.
Definitely did. Crispy Bacon has that first pick. Going for the Sekhmet then.
Going for the steal, I'm liking the idea, but then again, Pinkroyd, do you know how to counter the thing you normally play yourself? Instantly going for a Julian.
Yeah, Julian coming back out, maybe being missing a little bit on the leaderboards at the moment. Chandra, Velajul come out, and wow, we're going back to some old metas here, say.
Yeah, this is definitely something we've seen a lot from last year, SWC, and also last year during the league itself. Dong, that is definitely something we haven't seen that much so far yet. But is this something that comes to play? And is he gonna go back to a Lydia? Because the moment if the Lydia doesn't get CC'd or armor broken or insta killed, Lydia will do a lot of damage on all of those units on the enemy side. And yes, he is looking for that Lydia with a combination of a Dong.
Oh, so much damage potential there on the side of Crispy Bacon. And he's looking like Pinkroyd's going to just try and out-sustain it there with an Angela pick.
Yeah, the sustain definitely makes a lot of sense, but you still have to be careful with that Lydia, because in the end, if the finesse armor break into a Julian skill 2, it might suddenly take out that Lydia very fast.
Could be the opportunity there as well, but it's the only defense break that he has on that side. Do you look to ban it out?
It's definitely a good potential for the ban, but you have to keep in mind that the enemy has a lot more sustain with a Raccoon and an Angela, which is typical. Both of them are kind of Raccoon kind of style of unit, so it is the question, but actually it does take it out. And the other side, we do have the respect on that Lydia too.
We have got a defense lead and the speed lead going in for our Summoners War European League Match 7, Set 2 between Crispy Bacon and Pinkroyd. He's 1-0 up at the moment, and can you look to land?
Yeah, we have the question, do you go for skill 3? Does go for skill 3, and there is no stun potential for this Miles on this first turn. So let's see where he likes to aim his first damage. Goes back onto that segment.
He does. He can look to use skill 3, gets up that immunity right now. He can defend on that segment and boost up with the skill 3. The damage is going to be coming out slowly from that Uldong.
Yeah, in this case, we were looking at a slow mainly on the Miles, because that is the one where you lower the damage output by a good amount. If you go for skill 2s right now, you would also make it where you have no healing potential later. And it's the same thing with the defense. If you drop your defense too early, the enemy is always going to be hitting something else. So in this case, he has a free chance of just going for the Chandra or the Velador or anything like that. So, but in this case, do we get armor breaks? We do only get 2 armor breaks.
There's one more opportunity right now, though, for that Velador to maybe try and land another one. Do you want to go on to that Angela? Are you going into the Miles? Oh, no, just plowing the damage into the Raccoon.
Going full on the damage into the Raccoon. He is careful to maybe not trigger Nemesis too much, to also have the Ulding move after that. However, the Ulding could be stunned if it gets landed by a Miles skill 2 at this moment.
Yep, he needs a stun, but he's not going for it. He's going instead for that segment right now. Skill 2 is going to do a lot of damage. Ooh.
That's definitely going to do a good amount of damage. Plus that additional turn is taking out a lot of the HP from that Raccoon, but it is not that just yet. Plus the Raccoon has healing. Another turn with healing if you go for the rapid boost on itself as well. But then you also right away have an Angela moving right after, and a lot of the damage that was done is suddenly back.
Exactly, he's looking healthy again right there, and obviously with that Julian not being able to get killed straight away until those units are not as healthy, it's going to be he needs to be a little bit quicker, Crispy Bacon, taking out these units.
Yeah, it's definitely where there's a lot of sustain on the enemy. Good stun on that Miles, however, but it could be something that could be cleansed off at a later moment too. We have Julian's skill 2 coming in, double 9k, still taking out units.
Definitely is right there. We've got that Uldong skill 1 available. Just maybe try and plow some more damage in. Going into that Miles maybe. Going in for the Angela instead. Kind of, again, shifting the damage across the units.
Yeah, it's shifting the damage across the units. It is understandable, however, because in the end, the moment you hit the Miles right now, you will definitely have that cleanse on that Miles. So therefore, you don't want to do that, because otherwise the Miles would have taken a turn right there. But now we're looking at slows. Can we land some slows? But the big issue is the armor break setup that we just had with the skill 2 of the segment. It just works so much better than just a Velador trying to get some armor breaks in. However, skill 2, is it a little bit of damage? It's a bit of chip damage, but it's not looking that much.
Yeah, it gets a bit of healing and sustaining there as well right now. But they are looking pretty healthy, that Angela and Raccoon right now. Again, more damage needs to come in, otherwise Julian skill 2s over time are going to be doing so much damage.
Yeah, absolutely. And Angela and Raccoon are doing a very good job at keeping everything very lively thus far. And once again, everything is nearly back to full HP. But this Julian is just making quick work of all of those HP bars, dropping it to half every time that there is a skill 2 available.
Exactly. Look at that shield as well, just taking none of the hits right now. Even if you put a defense break up, it's likely to go very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And that does show where the Uldong, sure, it increases the damage on everything. But in the end, it's not doing enough by itself where you actually do have enough damage, because one Raccoon additional turn and suddenly all of the HP bars are very full again.
Yeah, big stun coming out as well from that Miles. Julian's going to be able to clean it up on that next turn as well. And 2 units versus that 4, it's deadly.
Yeah, it's absolutely deadly, and I'm pretty sure that this match is over. And we're actually going to be taking one apiece, so both of the two players ended up with 4 points today.
Yep, I think that might even take Pinkroyd up to joint first place with Malignant in our Summoners War European League as well. I'm not 100% sure yet. We'll see the exact leaderboard at the end of the day. But Crispy Bacon coming out clutch today, like really, really well played, well drafted. In that last one, I think he maybe got a little bit out sustained, knowing that the damage from a Miles and that Julian were just so much in the end. But I always like seeing a new unit out there and Uldong being on there. Maybe it didn't work, but it's cool to see.
Absolutely, and it did have that one potential for the armor break on that skill 1. Did it a good skill, or like a good 12k on an armor break with the skill 1, but in the end, the Raccoon, the rune quality of Pinkert was just too high. If he were to take out the units there, at least one of the two sustainers, he would have had a really good shot at it, but in the end, it was too hard for him to sustain that segment to keep it alive, to provide that armor break AoE.
Exactly, and once that wasn't there for him, he just couldn't quite make it clutch. That's going to round out the matches for those two guys during this game week, but we've still got 2 more matches yet to come from the last of the players that have been playing over this week. Again, like we said, after these matches, they're all going to be even Stevens going into that very last week, and now we've got Josselino and we've got Slay as well. Josselino maybe wants to get a few more points on the board, only 1 from this game week so far. Slay actually getting 3 out of a possible 4, but can he look to extend that lead?
Yeah, absolutely. So this once again, well, we on one side we have the Gianna, the Zeratul, on the other side we have a lot of the Bruces. So what we have seen work very well against Josselino so far is contesting that Vanessa. That Vanessa just made a lot of work. And let's see if Slay also did read that or did see that from the previous matches.
Exactly, we've seen a big Bruiser matchup, but if you can play against it, let's see if that Vanessa can come in clutch for Slay right now. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see for these guys, purely because the play style of Josselino maybe is predictable. Can you have predicted it? Have you done your homework, Slay? Let's find out. You've got to be shahatting me with this matchup, Josselino. You Slay girl. Let's go. Summoners War European League, match 8, set 1 between Josselino and Slay, say. Oh, that's a mouthful, eh?
Absolutely. So let's see what they have for pre-ban. So Slay does have the first pick. He could go into a Vanessa himself in this position if he wants to go for the double steal. Actually, we go for a light pony. And once again, that Gianna. Gianna hasn't been showing too much on the field today, but it has been shown a lot in that lock-in for the pre-ban.
Have you done your homework, Slayer? Is there going to be a Vanessa coming out right now to play against Josselino, or have you managed to cook something else up ready for this one? The Kavachi coming out early.
Kovaci, so that's definitely for Josselino, going back to a potential Vanessa plus as a hut or anything along those lines. But it is also looking very much that Slay is setting up for a cleave potential. So Josselino, can you survive a very strong cleave potential that Slay does have? Because in the end, he does also have that Kiara. If you go for Kiara, Dominic, Sonia's, those kind of units, you can still take out a lot of stuff the moment that the enemy fully doesn't speed contest you. And sure, there's that second life of the Vanessa, but you can also just kill things twice.
Exactly. If you get them the first time, just go again for that second time. We've got Ciara out on the field for Slay, locking in that with the speed lead. And first time for this evening with the Wind Robo as well. So definitely looking to go for that turn 1.
Yeah, absolutely going for the turn 1. Not going full contesting on a single target cleave kind of style that I more expected from that Kovaci first pick. And that does enable Josselino to go more towards Bruiser units himself as well. But maybe something along the line of a Fire Monkey, or maybe even locking in a Vert against that Robo.
Let's find out. Maybe even a Juno coming out to play, but instead contesting on the speed. Wow, so we've seen a Wind Monkey Jingje come out, and we've got that Sekhmet as well.
Yeah, so definitely a speed contested right there does make a lot of sense. On the other side, we do see a Sonya, but do we go for a speed lead? Yeah, well, in the end, that counts as a speed lead. It is 21, but it is very much still a speed lead.
Exactly, 2 snipe units there coming out. Like you were saying, individual targets, smashing it through. How can Josselino look to respond here right now? He's got 1 speedy unit and a speed lead, but are you looking to get a bit more sustain coming out?
Well, the big question is that speedy unit actually speedy? Because I think last time I saw it, the attack bar of the segment wasn't that full. And I'm not sure if Slay also did pick that up. So it could be something that he's still able to outspeed. However, there is something with a double life over there. And the name is Zenitsu.
Yep, not going to be able to kill it the first time round because of that passive. Is it going to be banned out right now and you're going to just see if you're going to snipe the units anywhere? Or is there another way to deal with it?
Well, I would still go for that Vanessa ban because in the end, the Zenitsu can get killed by a bomb instantly from that Sierra. But therefore, I do expect the Vanessa and the Sierra being banned. We actually don't have the Sierra being banned.
We've got Kovaci banned out and that Vanessa speed lead for Slay. The HP lead coming in for the side of Josselino in our Summoners War European League. Match 8, set 1 between Josselino and Slay. Josselino in 11th spot at the moment. He really needs these 2 points.
And we actually have a Kiara outspeeding, once again, a Sonya. So that is an attack buff. That is going to be doing a lot of damage. So normally, I don't think that you would have been able to take anything out. But with an attack buff, for sure you can. And as mentioned before, the segment of Josselino is not looking swift. Otherwise, these units would have not outspeed. And that is most likely going to cost him the game right here.
Exactly. Monkey's starting to do a lot of stuns going around right now. Maybe you need to set up some defense breaks coming in. You know, going for the cool time instead.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one to go for the cool time because without that, you don't really have ways to potentially strip it. But if you do all of the damage onto that Monkey right now, it cannot really go for the counters that he normally likes to do. And I think from there, you definitely win. And once again, Slay very well prepared. And that does also show why that Kiara was doing that little damage before. It is all the way on 100 crit rate and super fast.
Yep, super fast right now. You can look to land a bomb, gets it onto that segment as well, and just chip damage away against that Wind Monkey. It's going to be all she wrote very, very soon. Can Kiara? No.
Nope, Kiara not yet, but we're just simply waiting for the damage to come in. Also, we have that bomb being locked in right now. And in the end, the HP bars on the side of Slay are not looking like that much HP, but it's definitely more than enough to take out a Monkey right here. Glancing, crit, can we still do it? We do get the crit animation, 27k, takes out the unit.
Yep, Slay confirming it, that 1-0 lead then against Josselino in this one. Slay, I think, from the leaderboard ranking there as well on the side. I think it's at 3rd as well, say. So 2 points right now. It's definitely going to be getting him closer to Malignant and Pinkroyd, if not even on the same points as well right now. Josselino really needs to step up his game in this next set.
Absolutely, and I do want to emphasize, we can see the highest ranking of Slay on the top right. It is 679, which is definitely a lot lower than most players, but it does show that with pre-ban, he is able to hold himself very well and get very high on that leaderboard.
And we see it there again, say, pre-bans coming out against Josselino. It's going to be that Vanessa. Josselino taking the Ciara away from the Slay.
Yep, this time around, Josselino has to be going back to some non-passive units, most likely, because in the end, for passive comp, Vanessa is by far the best unit to be setting it up with. And that's where Josselino's taking a little bit more time for first pick, whereas most of the time, first picks are locked in pretty fast.
They are, so he's thinking about it right now. How is he going to change things up? Any other speed lead that he's maybe thinking about right now? We've seen Water Twin Angels, we've seen Chandra's come out already. Is he going to even lock in an early Sekhmet here to try and do that speed? Water Twin Angels have come out.
Yeah, going for an early Sekhmet where your Sekhmet is most likely on Violent is definitely not that great of an option. And I've seen Sekhmets on Violent before. You don't see it all too much. Or maybe it's Despair, we're not 100% sure. But I don't think it's really the right way to go for a unit like that, because Sekhmet is all about taking that first turn. And taking the first turn is on the side of Slay right now with 2 fast units.
Yep, scary units as well. Kovaci coming out and that Gianna. Managing to boost up with that Kovaci and then get your stuns out, land some more bombs coming out. I mean, Ciara was maybe a good pre-ban there in the case of knowing that Gianna was possible for Slay to choose. How does Josselino look to counter this? We've seen before in this position, I think, a Velajul and a Shahat, but can you do that now?
Yeah, I'm not too sure about it as well. And normally I would say definitely go for a Sekhmet, but since your Sekhmet is not on Swift, it doesn't really feel right against those units. And neither does Josselino think so, but for that reason, also Slay can once again go back to his very fast units that he had before, just simply locking in to outspeed, and there's no second life potential on the units of Josselino just yet. He could go in for a Nana, which is maybe an option, but you have to keep in mind that most likely both of the units, both the Kovaci and that Kiara, are outspeeding that Sonya right there. So even if you have a defense trap, normally it might not work because you get an attack buffed Sonya.
Exactly. Carlos? Are we going to see a Carlos? If you're going to snipe one of the units, let's go for a different one. Wow, Mash coming out, and we've got that light unicorn as well. Oh.
Actually, a Carlos is a really good call. If you went for a Carlos in the 4 instead of that Masha, I think I would have liked that draft a little bit more. But that is something, if you don't snipe it the first time, you might as well try it a second time. Very interesting draft on the right side and very light and dark heavy.
Yeah, it's going to be fireworks for you saying that match. in this matchup, just because of the amount of snipes coming out as well. Bans as well, who you're looking at?
I definitely would say left side, you ban off that Twin Angels, because the Twin Angels, the only thing that could potentially speed contest you in the case that the Kiara is gone. But on the right side, there's so many options to ban, because the Gianna has to be gone, the Sonya has to be gone. There's just too many things that you have to ban. Actually, interesting enough, the Twin Angels still made it onto the field.
They did, and he took the speed lead from them as well as the Kiara. It's our Summoners War European League. Match 8, set 2 between Josselino and Slay. Have we got another snipe moment coming?
Yeah, because also, once again, these Twin Angels right here look to be violent rather than swift. And that is the danger of having too many units on violent. Because you simply get outsped. Kiara takes out one unit. Gianna's going to be stunning the other two. Well, halfway there, that's also an option. But you can simply just push it back to the Kiara right now. I'm pretty sure you would take another turn.
Yeah, skill 2 coming out again. You can look to kill off that Marsha instead of the Shahat there right now.
I think that's a well-played one over there, because the Saad has been shown that it can actually handle about like a 60k hit. And the Kiara over there did a 42k hit, so it's definitely well-placed right there. It's gonna lose the Kiara in its own process over there. But there's still a lot of work with that Gianna, and going back and forth with that Lipola Queen. But is it going to be enough damage? Because the units of Josselino are very tanky. I'm not sure if this Gianna has a high bomb damage.
Oh, it doesn't matter how high your bomb damage is if you miss it, but cycling through to get all the way to that skill 3, getting some good stuns, and now Eleanor can get some really good debuffs there.
But we also have an additional turn right there, also taking off all of the debuffs from that Marsha. Marsha, how much damage are you gonna do? Most likely on that Gianna. Does do half HP on that Gianna, takes on this turn, nearly taking out that Gianna right there.
Is this the case where Slay just didn't have enough to take out Josselino right now? Because he needs to be getting some damage through, and Marsha being on that field, that skill 1 is still going to hit hard. Oh.
Yeah, the skill 1 does take it out, but in its own response, we have the Saad. Ooh, Saad's not doing enough damage. Is this enough damage? 900 damage is not enough. If you just simply skill 1 right now, I would absolutely go for a skill 1, because that's a good amount of healing, and that's absolutely what you need right now. Plus, the Alanoa still has the skills right now. Is this going to be enough? The bomb does connect, and this is not going to be enough for the kill on that Gianna.
No, but you've got attack bar manipulation coming out from the side of Slay. You can look to get that Brewer Lord to boost it all the way up for the Gianna as well if you want already, just to get her a little bit more healthy.
I would go for a Brutal Order right now, and then go for a skill 2, because that gives you potential stuns, and that's definitely what you're looking for at this position. And we're going to be looking for bombs, but if you drop the bomb on the wrong target right now, it might be cleansed by that pudding, so you have to still be careful on that.
Yeah, or big cleanses coming out from Angela right now, but is Josselino dealing enough damage to get rid of that Gianna in time?
Yeah, it's going to be the big question, because Gianna doesn't have the bomb up at this moment. Can once ago go for the stun. Does actually manage to land stun. Also, the Sahat keeps moving in front of the pudding, and the pudding could have actually healed it at the right timing. So that every time does not really work out, but still sitting on the edge, because anytime that Sahat takes a turn right now, it will definitely take out that Gianna.
Definitely was trying to pile in the damage into that Angela so that it cleanses itself rather than that Shahat. So, oh, the bomb is still there though.
Oh, the Lipola Queen is doing so much work with all of those stuns. Also, this bomb will guaranteed connect, because the speed on the Sahat is faster than the speed on this pudding. So in this case, it will definitely connect on that bomb that is here right now. However, the HP also does get lowered every time that Brutal Order is done from the Lipola Queen.
Yeah, but I think it's maybe going to be fine, just because of the amount of time that's coming right now. You can use that skill 3, look to get some more attack bar manipulation. Another bomb landed as well.
Another bomb landed. Let's see how much damage the first bomb is, because I'm not 100% sure if it was an attack buff bomb. But I do expect, if you're playing a comp like this, you do care about your attack on the Gianna, and I definitely do think it should be taking it out. Does take it out, and now it's putting against the world. And once again, very well played by Slay.
Slay taking 2 points against Josselino there. He's managed to get all the way up into that 3rd spot on our Summoners War European League leaderboard. As a G2, say, you mentioned it before as well. A G2 is currently 3rd in Europe on our Summoners War European League. Like, that's all down to homework and playstyle, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And he also has the LDs that very well pair with one another. He has that Kiara, but also having a Kiara all the way outspeed your Sonya and everything. That is very impressive for room quality.
Definitely is. He's been in Giants long enough to make sure that it really, really pays off and works right there. Sadly for Josselino, not taking the points is going to keep him pretty low on the leaderboard. Really, it is crunch time. We've got one more week after this at 8 o'clock on next Wednesday. We'll be here for the kind of last matches before we get to those playoff positions. And it's all about getting those final points. A 2-0 right now is a huge loss for him in terms of that for the leaderboard. But crazy matches so far today, say. We've got one more match left to go. The final match of today. It's going to be a killer. Pwah. Are you excited for this one?
Yeah, definitely, because we have Tech and Unarmed, and both of them kind of have an interesting playstyle where Unarmed really goes for the cleaves most of the time. We've seen that Narsha doing an insane amount of damage. But on the other side, we see speed units that are normally speedy being on violence, such as the Secret, such as that Atna. So let's see if Unarmed is able to go for his cleave style right there, or that it's maybe where it's going to be more difficult. And actually where we're talking that Pinkroyd was supposed to be the one that's maybe getting the 5-1. Slay picked up 5 points this time around.
Yep, huge for him right there. And only looking forward now, 2 more French players. Can they take inspiration from Slay, who managed to get a 2-0 here as the 3 Musketeers Tech versus Unarmed? Favoured player? I mean, again, I think it's pretty close.
I think it's pretty close, but it really depends on how well does Tech disarm the Unarmed cleaving style with that Vanessa, with the Adriana, with the Sonya, and those kind of units. But Tech has also been showing a pretty decent Sonya himself, so I think that might be some of the contested units once again. That Vanessa and then the speed units after.
Will our players be able to bring some big brain tech to the match? One of them hopefully has nothing left up his sleeves. Let's find out in our Summoners War European League Match 9 Set 1 between Tech and Unarmed then Hearsay. It's going to be interesting. The mind game's already coming out, taking a little bit longer to get these pre-bans coming out right now. League rank 7th versus 10th. These points are actually really crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. So, because this gives you so much better of a playoff position or potentially qualifying for the playoffs. Actually taking a really long time for these pre-bans right here. Vanessa on one side. No, actually Vanessa on neither of the sides. But we once again have a pre-ban on that Sekhmet.
Sekhmet and that Narsha as well. But we saw how quickly it deleted some of these Junos and other units that were on the field earlier. Unarmed right now has that first pick. Are we going to see the Vanessa? Yes, Vanessa straight away.
Vanessa straight away. So Tech, do you go for your comfortable units with the Secret, with the Adna? Pairing that up with a speed lead. In the case of the speed lead over here, could be a Twin Age, could be a Chandra. Those are the most likely fitting for it. But he's actually taking a good amount of time for his first 2 picks here as well. So definitely taking the time here. Actually going back to a style that we see before, early Hey Gang.
Yeah, double water units coming out, but Unarmed responding with his classic style. We've got the Adriana, we've got the Sonya. Snipes are coming out. How does Tech respond to that? Because he's not showing anything against it right now.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting opener, knowing that your enemy does go for an Adriana and does go for a Sonya, because, and yeah, neither of these 2 units would do that well against it. Sure that the Heigang is okay against a Vanessa if you go for a strip and then a follow-up single target damage, but in the end, the style of Unarmed is more about Sonya, and Neftis is not really doing that neither. It might be a Neftis defense trap, and then the Adriana is banned, but that might be an early lock-in for a ban right there.
Responding with 2 of the dark units then right now. Again, I don't feel the synergy so much on the side of Tech right now. Unarmed, can you look to lock in another high damage dealing unit with that Water Siri and the Esche? I mean, he's saying exactly what he's going to do from that draft.
Yeah, 100%. And where normally the Siri feels a little bit weak if you ban out the speed buffer, because the Siri really needs to get 100 speed above your enemy to get 100% ignore defense. But the moment that you have 2 speed buffers, it really works. Also, that Leo is banned like a million, thousand, trillion times percent something. That's not a word, but now it is a word that Leo's not on this field.
Exactly. It was picked probably the fastest unit from Tech in the whole of that draft as well right there. And again, if you've made a good draft, you're banning that last pick and playing against it. We've got the Adriana banned out as well. Speed leads for both of our guys going into the Summoners War European League. Final match of today, match 9, between Tech and Unarmed, and he's going to get that speed buff up.
Big question right now, is something a defense trap? Defense traps could most likely be on the Neftis. On the other units, I don't see it as much. Goes for the Neftis, however, that's the dangerous target, is actually able to take it out.
Takes it out, and now Water Siri can also take out another unit. He's left with 2, and Tech knows it's only an uphill battle from there. Unarmed coming out 1-0. That was a very, very fast match.
That was, I think, so far the fastest match we have seen. This is the point that if you want to watch your replay, it might not show up on replays because the match was over in 3 turns.
Exactly. So much damage coming out. And surely Tech knows that now, that Unarmed is ready to snipe whenever he can. How does he approach this in the pre-bans now? Are you going to look to pre-ban out already maybe a different speed and attack buff with the Adriana? Respect the Vanessa?
Yeah, it's definitely a few options right there. But then again, the Asher is really fast of Unarmed. The Sonya is really fast. Unarmed has a lot of fast units because let's say you ban out the Adriana, then he still has that Asher. Let's say you ban out the Sonya, he still has the Narsha and that series. So there's a lot of options. And yeah, you might as well, if you like to play this style, I don't want to see that Leo altogether.
Exactly. Leo's not going to be entering the field. Is it an opportunity for Tech here to steal that Vanessa? Have the early speed lead on his side?
Absolutely, because in the end, the best setup for those kind of comps is Vanessa, but also the best counter for it is also Vanessa. So that's a double down that Unarmed can't really go for his playstyle right now that he normally would like to go for, and therefore he's also right away switching it up with a Chandra. Ooh. Actually, no, we're not switching things up at all. We're going for a Draco kind of cleave, but a Draco kind of cleave, does he have a Trinity?
Oh, tell me he does, please. We've got Draco, we've got Narch coming out. There's big damage coming out here, say.
Yeah, does Tech have any fast units that could potentially counter this? Or, well, Leo is not going to be on the field altogether, that is for sure. You could be looking at certain things like Abelios, maybe a Diana. It really depends like what kind of units you have runed up that could potentially counter a cleave like this. But he's definitely looking for those units in his box right now because he's not really sure what's coming his way.
Exactly, doesn't feel prepared. Maybe Tech right here, going for the Lima, going in for a Miles, we know, maybe can interrupt as well at some point, but Unarmed is first turn only, baby.
Yeah, it's 100% first turn, so let's see who's the next fast unit that's going to be on the field. Sonya is available, Siri is available. We'll go for that Sonya. We have to keep in mind that the Vanessa might be looking at a must ban over here. So if Tech can lock in 2 other good units, it might still a potential thing. Something like a Samath might be looking like something over here as well.
Exactly, just some damage on a revive coming out right now. What else has he got planned? It seems like he wasn't very ready for it in terms of Unarmed coming out with more snipe units, but surely he had to.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see if he goes for Carnal. Okay, tanky units. Lars, that is definitely a unit we haven't seen all too much. The Light Geralt. And I'm not really sure how that's going to be tanking anything in this matchup because that is looking like a Vanessa ban right there.
He's going to be praying for some Lima revenges coming out here in the perfect moment, say, but Unarmed can just continue with maybe even more damage.
Yeah, you could even go more damage because you don't have to go speed lead because you already know you're going to be banning the enemy speed lead. So for that reason, I'm also pretty sure that this Miles is not going to be outspeeding you altogether. So big question is this Draco also going to be faster than that Sonya? The Sonya did look semi-slow on the previous matchup because the Ashe was outspeeding it very far. So I do think the Draco will be faster as well.
Let's find out. It's our last set, last match today. Miles is going to be going first. Can you disrupt? You need a big stun.
You need a really big stun, and you probably need it on that Draco, because the moment you do it on the Draco, it does get it on the Draco, and that is going to be a lot of damage reduced right here. Can you land this on the Lima, or is that Lima? Once again, it could be a defense trap. We're trying it. That is a lot of damage, but not taking out. In this case, you definitely want to go for the skill 1. It's going to do more damage than that skill 2.
Yeah, it's maybe a waste of a turn, but you need to confirm that kill. Piling in damage right now. Are you going to go on Lars, or do you need to go onto that Carnal already? Oh, resisted.
Ooh, resisted, and this is an AoE defense break, and Carnal might actually take over the match. However, we're not landing a single AoE defense break. Maybe he needs the passive first to get an AoE defense break. I'm not too familiar with that unit.
Yeah, he's going to be coming very soon as well. Miles can look to maybe even finish off a unit right now if he's going into that Sonya.
Well, he has to go for that Draco, I think. The moment you take out that Draco, because if the Draco still gets a buff up on that Siri, you might still take out units. And this Miles is doing a lot of work being this fast.
He is. Big defense break coming out right now, but full stacks coming in.
Yeah, and this Lars is actually working out very well. I kind of expected the unit to do something similar if it was a Nana, AoE defense break, and then have the Carnal cleanup from there. But the Lars is actually doing a really good work at it so far.
He definitely is. Miles was so clutch in managing to disrupt right there. And Lars can just come in and start cleaning up right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, in the end, it's taking a lot of turns because of those adrenaline stacks. But in the end, all eyes were on that Miles. If it did not connect that very first stun, the Draco would have moved, and then the whole team of Unarmed could have done the same thing as they had in that first match. But now we take one apiece.
Yeah, 1-1 between Tech and Unarmed then. Probably not the kind of result we were expecting looking in that draft phase as well right there, so interesting to see Tech coming back. Again, sometimes you just need to use units where you haven't read exactly the full length of what is happening against you, right? If you let it through, maybe something happens, and in this case for him, Lars coming in clutch.
Yeah, absolutely. But also that's Miles just simply being faster than the Draco. That helped out so much because, once again, if it was the other way around, I think we had a very quick match once again as well.
Yeah, exactly. That first set was very fast. But those are some big points for both of these players right now. They were sat near the bottom of the leaderboard. We're going to have a look very soon at the actual standings from today's matches and then how that has resulted into our leaderboard. Remember, we've got one more week of the league that is next week on Wednesday before going into those playoffs. So there's one more week of this kind of action on a Wednesday, and then we'll be moving on to a weekend to see how things end up in the knockout phases, those playoffs of our Summoners War European League. Wow. Patterns, we've got one more chance for the pattern next week, say. But patterns here have just been disrupted everywhere.
Yeah, the pattern here is really bad. It's all over the place. Also, next week we're going to be having 12 matches rather than just 9 matches, because to make sure that everyone plays once against one another, we have to play 12 matches on day 7. So that's going to be a little bit of a longer one. But after that, we also do know which positions the players will have for those playoffs.
Exactly, and it is all about those stand-ins as well. You want to be higher so that you have less of a journey to get through in those playoffs. And we can look at the leaderboard right now. We've got Malignant and Pinkroyd with a little bit of a gap, but to Slay, 13 points to 11. But look at how close it is from 4th all the way through to 10th, say, 1 point between them.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of option. In the end, anyone that is on the 4th position all the way till the 10th position, I think even just Linio, if he goes for a 4-0 next week, because I do think that every player has 2 matches at that time, he could still end up at 10, and he might overtake someone that's not winning that much. So actually everyone until the 11th place still has position to place in there, but also the positions are going to be super close.
They are going to be really close. Every single set point matters going into that very last week. I can't even remember from last year if it was also this close, but this feels intensely close.
I think it's way more close this year than it is last year. I think we had definitely an upper pack of like 4 or 5 that were leading very well. And then the lower 3, 4 were a little bit more tied together. So it's like up for grab of like 1 or 2 playoff spots. But now it feels like there's 3 kind of locked in players for the playoffs. And the other 5 spots are fully open up for grab for a lot of players. Plus what's also open up for grabs is some more scrolls and some energy.
Oh, nice. 2 win scrolls coming out there as well. Maybe you can get a Sonya and it can result in another little snipe going out. I mean, more than one Sonya is never a bad thing, right, sir?
Absolutely. In our guild, most of our players have like 3, 4, sometimes even 5. But then again, you also need enough Adrianas for that.
Okay, stop the flex here. But I understand it. Make sure you're using those codes from the in-game chat or the chat down here with Seishizu's channel, or if you're joining us on YouTube, wherever it may be, enter them in. Make sure you're taking that free stuff. Summon, let us know. You've probably got 30-40 seconds to let us know what you summoned before we're going to be ending the stream. And don't forget, next Wednesday, 8 o'clock, we're back again. It's week number 7, the last week of the league before the playoffs. What an incredible day it has been, Say. How have you enjoyed it?
Absolutely was once again a blast, but also very much looking forward to next week, because that is where all of the players that we have seen so far will be played in one day, and hope to see you there as well.
Exactly. Some fun matches to come, plenty of fireworks. Make sure you're sticking around on all the socials to find out where we'll be and when, but we will see you next Wednesday at 8 o'clock.